Chapter 3373. Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, get out of my way and I'll spare your life. The Primal Chaos Emperor stared at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, and said coldly. Primal Chaos light rose around him, and his aura surged into the sky. He was like a primal chaos fiend god that came from before the creation of the world. Staring at Ling Xiao, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, the Primal Chaos Emperor's eyes were blazing. The Flowing Time Emperor didn't lie to him. Although Ling Xiao had transcended, he didn't choose to integrate with the myriad Tao Golden Core and transcend. Instead, he chose to integrate with his 3 reincarnations. Now Ling Xiao seemed to have fallen into a state of nirvana, and was only relying on the myriad Tao Golden Core to maintain his life. Now was the best time to snatch the myriad Tao Golden Core. Primal Chaos, how dare you act so presumptuously here? Aren't you afraid that Ling Xiao will be the first to kill you after he transcends? The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain looked at the Primal Chaos Emperor and said, It's still unknown who will transcend. Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, you won't be able to protect Ling Xiao. The Primal Chaos Emperor said coldly, Primal Chaos, don't waste your breath on him. I'll stop him. You go and get the myriad Tao Golden Core. The Flowing Time Emperor's eyes flashed, and he attacked immediately. Boom. The void trembled, and a long river of time stretched across hundreds of millions of miles in the void, pressing down on the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain's eyes flashed, and a blazing light rose around him. He threw out a punch, trying to break through the river of time and rush out. Buzz. The Primal Chaos Emperor's eyes turned cold. The bell of Primal Chaos flew across the sky, containing a mysterious source of chaos. It seemed to be able to suppress everything and fell on the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. Then, the Primal Chaos Emperor pounced on Ling Xiao. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, he had to kill Ling Xiao and get the myriad Tao Golden Core first. Crack! The void trembled as though there was a blazing thunderbolt that tore through billions of miles of the void. The Emperor Lord of Kunwu Mountain and the Flowing Time Emperor clashed, causing the entire world to tremble and the void to tremble. The mysterious river of time trembled violently, and the power of time gushed out from it. In the end, it exploded with a bang. Clang! The chaos bell shone brightly, but when it collided with the Kunwu Mountain Emperor, the already injured chaos bell was instantly sent flying. In the palm of the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, the 5-colored divine light spread out like a 5-colored Milky Way, and enveloped the Emperor of Chaos. Since he was Ling Xiao's protector, he naturally could not allow Primal Chaos Emperor to get close to Ling Xiao. Get out of my way. The Primal Chaos Emperor's eyes were incomparably cold as he blasted out a Primal Chaos Fist. The divine light was so dazzling that it seemed to be able to shatter everything. The 5-colored Milky Way trembled violently. In an instant, it crumbled under the Primal Chaos Fist. Primal Chaos Emperor took a step forward, and came before Ling Xiao. Rise! The Kunwu Mountain Emperor's eyes flashed sharply. He formed a seal with both hands and a bright rune exploded in the void. Rumble. Around the Primal Chaos Emperor, the mountains and rivers changed, and the heavens and earth rose. Ling Xiao disappeared in an instant, and the Primal Chaos Emperor appeared in a mysterious world. The Worldly Mountain River Vanishing Array? The Primal Chaos Emperor's eyes turned cold. The Primal Chaos light around him rose, and his entire body expanded. In an instant, he turned into a giant that was hundreds of millions of miles tall. He punched out repeatedly, and every punch seemed to be able to break through the chaos. The surrounding void trembled continuously, as if it would shatter at any moment. The Worldly Mountain River Vanishing Array was a forbidden array that had once trapped and killed a great emperor. It turned out that the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain had already prepared for it. Although the Primal Chaos Emperor was strong, he was trapped in the Worldly Mountain River Vanishing Array. It would not be easy for him to break out of it in a short period of time. Flowing Time. Do you really want to walk the same path as the Primal Chaos Emperor and remain stubborn? The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said indifferently as he waited for the Flowing Time Emperor to come. Cut the crap. You either make way or die. The Flowing Time Emperor's eyes flashed with killing intent. The time compass floated above his head, and rivers of time gathered from all directions. They were mysterious and unfathomable, trapping the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain within. Time annihilation. The flowing time emperor roared, and the surrounding void trembled. The rivers of time instantly exploded, as if they had been annihilated at the same time. Boom. A tide of time surged, and wherever it passed, everything turned into dust. It was as if everything was going to be wiped out by the power of time. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain looked indifferent, and mysterious five-colored divine lights rose around his body. They circulated around each other, emitting an immortal luster. The tide of time enveloped the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, but it was blocked by the five-colored divine lights and could not advance at all. What? The flowing time emperor's face changed slightly. Although he had overestimated the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, he realized that the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was far stronger than he had imagined. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain seemed to be at ease even when he was fighting against two people. With his current combat strength, I'm afraid that he's only one step away from the path of 10,000 Daos as one. But why didn't he choose to transcend? The flowing time emperor's heart was filled with doubts. Boom. However, he did not have time to think too much. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain slapped down with his palm, and the five-colored divine lights rose as if they could destroy everything. The tide of time in the surroundings trembled violently, and when it was swept by the five-colored divine lights, it instantly turned into nothingness. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain's palm print was no longer obstructed, and it pressed down on the flowing time emperor. The face of the flowing time emperor changed as his eyes shone with an unparalleled sharpness. Pointing out with his finger, an unparalleled amount of power was contained within that finger, causing the surrounding chaotic light to explode out. It was as though there was an ancient world that was being annihilated by this single finger. Age Annihilation Finger. Crack. The five-colored palm print and the Age Annihilation Finger collided, and then were annihilated at the same time. An incomparably blazing light swept in all directions, shaking the heavens. Hiss. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain is actually so strong? Some people were shocked, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was the guardian of the human race, and it was said that his strength was incomparably strong. Although few people had seen him in action, it could be seen from his protection of the human race, and the fact that the human race had not been destroyed by other strong races before the birth of a great emperor could be seen. However, no one had expected the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain to be so strong. He was not at a disadvantage when facing the Flowing Time Emperor and the Primal Chaos Emperor alone. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain is the most secretive person in the human race. With the cultivation of the Emperor realm, he can actually fight against two great emperors alone. His strength is indeed terrifying. I wonder who will win and who will lose this battle. It's hard to say. The Primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor are here for the Myriad Dao Golden Core. If they really manage to snatch the Myriad Dao Golden Core, the result will be unpredictable. Speaking of which, I wonder if Ling Xiao is dead or not. His current state is very strange, and he doesn't seem to have the slightest vitality. He is neither alive nor dead, but no one dares to make a move. The Myriad Dao Golden Core in his body has become a delicious cake in everyone's eyes. Seeing the intense battle between the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, the Primal Chaos Emperor, and the Flowing Time Emperor, everyone was incomparably shocked. However, now that the Primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor have made their move, I'm afraid that some hidden great emperors won't be able to sit still any longer. After all, this is the best time to snatch the Myriad Dao Golden Core. That's right. In the midst of chaos, it's hard to say if the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain can protect Ling Xiao. Rumble. The Flowing Time Great Emperor unleashed his strongest battle prowess, as the origin of the Great Dao intertwined around him like stars. Every strike of his contained the power to destroy the heavens and the earth, firmly entangling the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. Although the Primal Chaos Emperor was trapped in the worldly mountain river vanishing illusion array, he had attained the Tao of Primal Chaos. The Primal Chaos energy suppressed everything and was all-encompassing. As he continued to attack, the worldly mountain river vanishing illusion array seemed to be on the verge of shattering at any time. The surrounding chaotic void surged, and spatial fluctuations spread out. A few figures with powerful auras suddenly appeared. Crack. In the end, the worldly mountain river vanishing illusion array could not withstand the terrifying power of the primal Chaos Emperor and exploded. In the chaotic void, Ling Xiao reappeared. The figures with powerful auras took advantage of this opportunity to unleash an extremely powerful Emperor's aura. They swept across the sky and grabbed at Ling Xiao. Wang, Wang, Wang. Numerous powerful extreme Dao Emperor weapons intertwined with each other, and they were mysterious and vast like the sea. They wanted to kill Ling Xiao and snatch the myriad Dao golden core. You're courting death. The primal Chaos Emperor had just rushed out of the array when he saw the few great emperors suddenly appear and attack Ling Xiao. They wanted to snatch the myriad Dao golden core, and he was instantly enraged. He had already regarded the myriad Dao golden core as his exclusive property, and these few people were so reckless as to want to snatch the fruits of his labor. In his rage, endless chaotic light gathered on the arm of the primal Chaos Emperor, and then it turned into a ferocious chaotic fist print. In an instant, it filled the void and suppressed the few great emperors. Primal Chaos Emperor. Do you really think that you can dominate everything? Get lost. There was a cold laugh, and one of the great emperors shone with dazzling radiance. He took out a violet golden hammer and charged at the primal Chaos Emperor. At this moment, those who dared to snatch the myriad Dao golden core were at least great emperors of the epoch. Many people had seen with their own eyes that the primal Chaos Emperor and the others had been severely injured in the battle of Dao verification, and their strength had been greatly reduced. Therefore, although the great emperors were still wary of the primal Chaos Emperor, they weren't afraid of him. In order to snatch the myriad Dao golden core, they directly attacked the primal Chaos Emperor. Rumble. The void shook violently, an endless chaotic light swept out. It was as though the heavens and earth were about to shatter at this moment. The primal Chaos Emperor was infuriated. He punched the violet golden hammer away, but his speed was slightly slower. He could only watch as the few great emperors came before Ling Xiao, and the few powerful extreme Dao Emperor weapons drowned Ling Xiao. Clang, clang, clang. Sparks flew in all directions, and the light was blazing. The few great emperors were shocked. When their attacks were 100 zhang away from Ling Xiao, it was as though they were blocked by an invisible barrier. The extreme Dao Emperor weapons were completely awakened, and they unleashed an unparalleled power to suppress Ling Xiao. However, it was as though they had smashed onto an extremely hard metal rock, and a blinding light burst out. Could it be? The few great emperors' hearts skipped a beat. They seemed to have thought of a certain possibility, and their eyes were filled with astonishment. You want the myriad Dao golden core? Ling Xiao opened his eyes abruptly. Two resplendent light beams shot out. They were extremely sharp and dazzling, as though they had lit up the chaotic void in an instant. Everyone felt blinded at that moment, and they couldn't help but shift their eyes away. Ling Xiao stared at the three great emperors of the epoch in front of him, and his expression was calm. However, there was a shocking vitality erupting from his body. Boundless chaotic energy surged toward him from all directions, and his body was like a black hole, continuously devouring the chaotic energy around him. However, he gave off a strange feeling, as though he didn't exist in this world. He had transcended above the great Tao, and he was ethereal and mysterious. Ling Xiao had awakened. Apex. Chapter 3374. The hearts of the three great emperors shuddered when they saw Ling Xiao's gaze. They felt chills running down their spines. Wasn't Ling Xiao merging the three bodies? Why did he wake up so quickly? According to the ancient records, merging the three bodies was a near-death experience. Many people could not complete the merger even after thousands of years. In the end, they would die and never be reincarnated. They would be completely erased by the great Tao. However, it had only been 100 days since Ling Xiao passed the Transcendence Tribulation. Could it be that he had completed the merger of the three bodies in just 100 days? Given Ling Xiao's current cultivation level, even if he had not transcended, he was only a step away from it. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Ling Xiao, let's leave now. The epic emperor, who had used his purple golden hammer to fight against the primal Chaos Emperor, forced a smile and said to Ling Xiao. Then he executed the greater teleportation technique and teleported into the distance. The other two great emperors were not fools. They knew that it was impossible for them to snatch the myriad Tao golden core when they saw Ling Xiao's current state. The most important thing now was to stay alive. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The three great emperors were extremely decisive. They retreated instantly, trying to escape from the chaotic void. Since you're here, stay. A faint voice resounded. It made their bodies tremble and their hair stand on end. They desperately tried to move into the distance. Buzz. The void trembled slightly as a gigantic palm swept across the sky, seemingly enveloping the entire world. Its speed was even faster than the speed at which the three great emperors of the epoch were fleeing. In the blink of an eye, the three great emperors were completely enveloped by the palm. Rumble. The void trembled and the world rumbled. Ling Xiao's outstretched palm caught the three great emperors like they were little chicks. Then he clenched his fist. Three cries of agony resounded. Blood mist swirled in the air as divine light blossomed. The three great emperors exploded into blood mist in Ling Xiao's palm. Their bodies and bones were shattered. Even their primordial spirits were shattered into countless pieces and erased. Rumble. Ling Xiao stood up from the chaotic void. An ancient, mysterious, and immortal aura covered the sky and covered the earth. His figure wasn't very tall, but at this moment he was like a primal chaos fiend god that supported the heavens and the earth. He emitted a fluctuation that caused everyone's heart to tremble. What? Everyone was stunned. Three epic emperors had died, just like that. If Ling Xiao had executed some sort of supreme fist technique or forbidden technique to kill the three great emperors, perhaps they would not have been so shocked. However, Ling Xiao casually extended a hand and grabbed the three great emperors. Then he clenched his fist and killed them all. That kind of ease, that kind of casualness, was like crushing an ant. This could only mean that the difference between the three great emperors and Ling Xiao was like the difference between heaven and earth. However, that was the peerless epic emperor who was revered throughout the ages. He had once dominated the rise and fall of an era, and started the glory and disgrace of an epoch. Even though all living beings feared him, he was one with the grand Tao of the world, an existence that was almost undying and indestructible. They weren't ants. However, their deaths were even easier than ants. Everyone felt that it was incomparably unreal, as if they were in a dream. Hiss! At the same time, the Primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor trembled violently. They could not help but gasp as their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Ling Xiao had actually awakened at this moment. Moreover, he had displayed a strength that even the Primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor found unbelievable. Transcendence expert. Needless to say, the Primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor immediately understood that Ling Xiao must have stepped onto the path of transcendence and become a true transcendence expert. Otherwise, even if the Primal Chaos Emperor was at his peak, he would not have dared to say that he could kill the great emperors as if they were dogs. I've played until I swallowed the golden core into my stomach. My fate is in my own hands. Ling Xiao, you've transcended. From now on, as the eternal great emperor, you'll dominate this world and be revered throughout the world. The emperor of Kunwu Mountain laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with incomparable joy. Rumble. Just as his laughter fell, the void suddenly shook. Bolts of lightning rose into the sky. The primal chaos divine lightning above the 9 heavens was dazzling and the everlasting fire surged violently. It was as if an apocalyptic vision had appeared. Around Ling Xiao, divine light shone resplendently. Auspicious vapors rose and the surrounding heaven and earth rumbled. Great Tao immortal flowers floated down and golden lotuses bloomed in the void. The mysterious vision appeared in the sky above the eldritch continent. It appeared in front of everyone's eyes, causing them to tremble uncontrollably. The billions of living beings on the eldritch continent seemed to feel a throbbing and reverence that originated from the depths of their souls. Many of them could not help but kneel down and kowtow. The shocking vision was thousands of times grander and more majestic than the vision when one attained the Tao and became an emperor. At this moment, all living beings were in awe. At this moment, heaven and earth congratulated. At this moment, the great Tao resonated. The heavenly Tao that had fallen into a deep slumber in the eldritch continent seemed to have awakened at this moment to celebrate the birth of a transcendence expert. Although a transcendence expert was outside of the heavenly Tao, it was extremely beneficial to the heavenly Tao. A transcendence expert could complete the heavenly Tao and allow a world to completely transcend and advance. Therefore, before Ling Xiao transcended, he would experience a near-death experience when he went through the transcendence tribulation. However, once he transcended, heaven and earth would congratulate him, and the great Tao would resonate. This terrifying vision made the primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor tremble. Their eyes were filled with extreme fear, as if some kind of life and death crisis was about to befall them. At this moment, Ling Xiao's gaze fell on the primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor. His eyes were calm and indifferent. However, the calmer he was, the more the primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor's hearts trembled. They knew better than anyone else how much Ling Xiao hated them. Now that Ling Xiao had awakened, the first thing he would do would be to kill them. Let's go. The primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor looked at each other. They gritted their teeth and instantly gave up on the battle with the Kunwu Mountain Emperor. They turned into two divine rainbows and shot towards the chaotic void in the distance. Freeze. Ling Xiao's expression was calm. He stepped on the void and walked towards them. He softly uttered a syllable. It was as if his words were the law, causing heaven and earth to tremble and rumble in all directions. Rumble. In the chaotic void, divine chains of order rose. They were all formed by the Great Tao Origin. 3,000 Great Tao Origin contain the power to seal everything. In an instant, they appeared around the primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor, forming an incomparably mysterious domain. They wanted to seal them within. Damn it! The primal Chaos Emperor and the Flowing Time Emperor's expressions changed. They felt as if they had fallen into a swamp. Their speed was getting slower and slower, and they felt as if they were about to be frozen in the void. Open! The primal Chaos Emperor suddenly roared. The chaotic light around him rose, and the infinite chaotic divine fist exploded. The unstoppable chaotic fist print broke through everything and instantly blasted the divine chains of order apart. He continued to move forward while throwing out chaos fist imprints. Although the primal Chaos Emperor was not frozen on the spot, his speed was still extremely slow. Time compass open. The Flowing Time Emperor was even more depressed. The fixed body technique that Ling Xiao used was a supreme secret technique in the Time Tao Origin. It used the Time Origin as its foundation to freeze the power of time and space. It could freeze a person in place and make them unable to move. However, Ling Xiao's fixed body technique was even more profound than what was recorded in the Time Tao Origin. With a command, the 3,000 Great Tao Origin vibrated at the same time, trapping them on the spot like a prison. The Flowing Time Emperor took out the time compass. The Time Origin seemed to be able to penetrate through the ages. It was also constantly destroying the divine chains of order, trying to get out of this mysterious domain. However, Ling Xiao had already appeared in front of the two of them after a while. What? The primal Chaos Emperor was shocked. When he saw the killing intent in Ling Xiao's eyes, his face became incomparably crazy. He knew that Ling Xiao would not let him go. There was an irreconcilable hatred between them. Therefore, he did not even think of begging for mercy. Buzz. Immeasurable chaotic power poured into the bell of chaos, causing it to shine brightly. The surrounding void trembled violently. In an instant, the bell of chaos was like a huge chaotic divine mountain that was hundreds of millions of feet tall, suppressing Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. The hatred between him and the primal Chaos Emperor could be said to be from 2 lifetimes. In his previous life, the Heavenly Emperor had died because of the primal Chaos Emperor. In this life, it was also because of the primal Chaos Emperor that Ling Xiao's 2 avatars had died. The hatred between the two of them did not need to be described with words. It had to be washed away with life and death. Boom! Ling Xiao threw out a punch. Immeasurable light bloomed. The unparalleled fist print seemed to be lingering around 3,000 worlds. The vast Great Tao Origin intertwined in the void, causing the heavens and earth to tremble violently. His punch landed on the bell of chaos. In an instant, endless chaotic windstorms were triggered and swept across the void. The bell of chaos released immeasurable light. The runes on it were released. In the end, as if it had reached its limit, cracks appeared. Crack. The bell of chaos exploded with a loud bang. This was the Supreme Emperor weapon that the Primal Chaos Emperor had refined for countless eras. Its power was unparalleled. It was famous in the entire Eldritch world. However, it had been destroyed by Ling Xiao's punch. Kill. The Primal Chaos Emperor was in a frenzy. His eyes were filled with killing intent. A jade ruler appeared in his palm. Milky white light spread out. It was as sharp as a blade. He slashed down at Ling Xiao from the sky. Heaven measuring ruler. This was the Primal Chaos Emperor's natal treasure. To a certain extent, it was even more powerful than the Bell of Chaos. He had been forced to the extreme by Ling Xiao. Without hesitation, he took out the heaven measuring ruler. Break! Ling Xiao shouted. There seemed to be blazing sword radiance rising in his eyes. He pointed his finger at the Primal Chaos Emperor. His finger radiance was dazzling. It was surrounded by an immortal luster. In an instant, it hit the heaven measuring ruler. Boom! The heaven measuring ruler trembled violently. The runes on it were destroyed inch by inch. In the end, it exploded. Ling Xiao's figure was ethereal and mysterious. In an instant, he was in front of the Primal Chaos Emperor. The sharp finger radiance seemed to be able to pierce through everything. It did not lose its momentum, and it landed on the Primal Chaos Emperor's chest. Boom! The Primal Chaos Emperor's physical body was like quicksand. In an instant, his vitality dissipated. He turned into ashes and completely disappeared from the world. The Primal Chaos Emperor's indestructible primordial spirit was wrapped in chaotic light. It wanted to escape, but Ling Xiao grabbed it. Runes fell and sealed it. Then Ling Xiao kept it. The Primal Chaos Emperor had to die. However, before he died, Ling Xiao had many doubts that he needed to verify. The Primal Chaos Emperor had fallen. Seeing the Lord of Chaos, who had lived since ancient times and was known as an immortal existence, fall at the hands of Ling Xiao, the shock in everyone's hearts could not be any greater. They finally understood. The entire Eldritch world was about to undergo a drastic change. From then on, Ling Xiao was the real Primal Chaos Emperor. Chapter 3375. Ling Xiao's gaze landed on the Flowing Time Emperor. The Flowing Time Emperor's face was bitter. It wasn't that he didn't think of escaping, but in front of Ling Xiao, he didn't even have the chance to do so. Ling Xiao controlled the myriad Dao origin, and easily imprisoned him, and the Primal Chaos Emperor in this void. Ling Xiao, I submit. The Flowing Time Emperor took a deep breath, and then knelt down on one knee. This action was beyond everyone's expectations. After all, the Flowing Time Emperor was also a figure from the First Era. He was extremely powerful and wasn't much weaker than the Primal Chaos Emperor and the other three sovereigns. As a great emperor, he naturally had the dignity of a great emperor. Everyone thought that the Flowing Time Emperor would fight to the death like the Primal Chaos Emperor. But what he didn't expect was that he would directly submit. Give me a reason not to kill you. Ling Xiao stared at the Flowing Time Emperor and said coldly. Although the Flowing Time Emperor's strength was extraordinary, Ling Xiao could easily crush him. Previously, he wanted to snatch Ling Xiao's myriad Dao Golden Core, and even join forces with the Primal Chaos Emperor. In Ling Xiao's opinion, he deserved to die. The Lord of the Dark World is also a transcendent being. I can help you find him. The Flowing Time Emperor gritted his teeth and sent a voice transmission to Ling Xiao. Lord of the Dark World. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This news was extremely important to him. He had always thought that the Dark World wasn't simple. Who would have thought that there would be a transcendent being in the Dark World? Then, was the transcendent scroll that he found in the Dark World left behind by the Lord of the Dark World? Give me your origin spirit imprint. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and stared at the Flowing Time Emperor coldly. The Flowing Time Emperor heaved a sigh of relief. His life was saved. But if he had to give up his origin spirit imprint, he knew the consequences. Letting out a bitter laugh, the Flowing Time Emperor sent out a soul imprint from between his eyebrows, which was then collected by Ling Xiao. From now on, the life and death of the Flowing Time Emperor was only in Ling Xiao's hands. Tell fate and karma to come to the Sky Court and ask for forgiveness within 3 days. Otherwise, I will personally come and take their lives. Ling Xiao's gaze was indifferent. He swept his gaze across the surrounding void and said nonchalantly, within the surrounding chaotic void, there were still many utmost powerful beings. Although they did not make a move, Ling Xiao knew that they would pass on the message. Go. The experts in the surrounding void were all frightened by Ling Xiao's gaze and immediately retreated into the distance. Ling Xiao has proven his Tao and transcended. He is destined to rule the great desolate world. Quickly go back and report this. In the future, we must not offend Ling Xiao and the human race. Those experts all had solemn expressions and were incomparably shocked. They knew that Ling Xiao had killed Chaotic Emperor in an incomparably domineering manner. This was probably Ling Xiao's way of warning the rest of the experts. Even the primal Chaos Emperor had died in Ling Xiao's hands. Who else could be his match? Soon the chaotic void was emptied. Only Ling Xiao, the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, and the Flowing Time Emperor were left. Ling Xiao, congratulations on surpassing the Great Tao and becoming a true Great Emperor. The Kunwu Mountain Emperor looked at Ling Xiao with a tinge of regret in his eyes as he sighed softly. Thank you, Senior Emperor. However, Senior Emperor, can you explain why the Transcendence Tribulation is so terrifying? If not for Zhao Ritian's rescue, I would have died. How could I transcend? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain and said indifferently, It seems like you know everything. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain did not seem surprised and sighed softly. Should I address you as Senior Imperial Emperor? Or should I address you as Heavenly Tao? Ling Xiao said indifferently. What? Ling Xiao's words caused the Flowing Time Emperor to tremble. His eyes were filled with incomparable shock. You are the spirit of Heavenly Tao. The Flowing Time Emperor stared at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain and said in shock. I see. I should have thought of it earlier. No wonder your cultivation has been stagnant at the Emperor realm. But you have such heaven-defying combat strength. No wonder you walked the path of unification of Tao, but did not covet the myriad Tao golden core. Instead, you helped Ling Xiao transcend. So you are the spirit of Heavenly Tao? Although the Flowing Time Emperor was shocked, he seemed to have thought of something. His eyes were filled with incomparable understanding. That's right. I am indeed the spirit of Heavenly Tao. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain nodded calmly and did not deny it. Ling Xiao, you have fused with 3 bodies. You should know that your previous life was the Heavenly Emperor. If you want to transcend, you have to sever all karma. You have to fuse with your previous life and this life. It is also destined that Zhao Ritian will face this tribulation. I did give him the 3 lives stone. He fused with 3 bodies and became a fateless one. That was why he could help you withstand the 3 lives nirvana tribulation. You, on the other hand, can truly transcend. I know that Zhao Ritian's death saddened you, but it was his own choice. I did not force him. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said calmly. You did not force him, but you killed him by telling him. Ling Xiao's eyes suddenly turned red and his face was filled with endless sorrow. An incomparably tyrannical aura seemed to rise around him. After fusing with the myriad Tao golden core and becoming a transcendent, he had transcended the great Tao origin and the Heavenly Tao. He had finally seen the true identity of the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. He had never imagined that while the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was the sacred mountain of the human race, his true identity was actually the spirit of Heavenly Tao. In the first era, the spirit of Heavenly Tao had been gravely injured in the Battle of Emperor's Fall, and had fallen into a deep slumber. Who would have thought that he would fuse with Kunwu Mountain and become the protector of the human race? It was no wonder that the human race had not been wiped out for countless eras despite being weak and incomparably miserable. After all, with the protection of the Heavenly Tao and the blessing of the Heavenly Tao, the human race was a race blessed by the heavens. How could they possibly be wiped out? Therefore, Ling Xiao also knew that the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain had not appeared when he was transcending the tribulation. It was most likely because the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was in charge of the tribulation. And to a certain extent, Zhao Ritian's death was caused by the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. I know you have resentment in your heart. If you want to vent your anger, feel free to attack me. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said slowly. If killing you can exchange for Zhao Ritian's life, I will do it without hesitation. Whether I can transcend the tribulation is my own business. What right do you have to make the decision for me? Ling Xiao stared at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain with anger surging in his eyes. Zhao Ritian was an opponent and a friend to him. Zhao Ritian had helped him without hesitation when he was in danger several times. In his heart, Zhao Ritian had long been the most important person. What he did not expect was that he was the celestial emperor in his past life, and had a father-son relationship with Zhao Ritian. Although this relationship was subtle, it was precisely because of this that Zhao Ritian's death caused him so much pain that he wished he was dead. Ling Xiao, do you know what the consequences will be if you die under the tribulation? The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said slowly. If you die under the tribulation, no one in the Eldritch world will be able to transcend. Even if they obtain the myriad Dao Golden Core, they will not be able to become a true transcendent. At that time, the Yorwild's world will be completely buried by the immeasurable calamity, leaving no trace behind. You can die, but are you willing to let your wife, your parents, and your most beloved Changxing die? Are you willing to let the old goat, Taoist Wu Liang, and your other friends die? Are you willing to let billions of people die? If you are not willing, then the Eldritch world will be destroyed and everything will cease to exist. Now, although Zhao Ritian is dead, you have transcended. After you transcend, the Eldritch world will have the chance to be truly eternal. By then, Zhao Ritian might be able to return. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said seriously. Zhao Ritian will return? What do you mean? Ling Zhao's body trembled as he stared at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. In the tribulation, Zhao Ritian's soul was destroyed in order to help him pass through the 3 lives of nirvana tribulation. Even his true spirit was completely annihilated, never to be reincarnated. And now, the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said that Zhao Ritian still had a chance to return? The reason why the prehistorical world collapsed in the immeasurable calamity was that the prehistorical world was not complete. It lacked a place for reincarnation. After death, there was no place for reincarnation. Without reincarnation, the origin of the prehistorical world would be exhausted, and it would be completely destroyed. However, if you can complete the reincarnation of the Eldritch world, you might be able to find Zhao Ritian's true spirit and let him reincarnate. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said seriously. How do I complete the reincarnation? Ling Xiao asked. The Void World. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain answered. What is the Void World? Ling Xiao was a little confused. He had never heard of this place. The Void World is the place where the world ends. After billions of worlds end, it is a special place that is formed. It is also the place where reincarnation is born. When the Void World opens and you enter the Void World, you will have a chance to complete the reincarnation. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said slowly. When will the Void World open? Ling Xiao asked. I don't know. However, I'm afraid it will open soon. After all, you have transcended. The tribulation of the Eldritch world is coming. When the time comes, you can take the underworld ship and reach the Void World. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said slowly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he said slowly. What is the Dark World? And why is the Lord of the Dark World a transcender? The Dark World is the same as the Eldritch world. They are both primitive worlds that were born in the chaos. Back then, the Eldritch world's transcender, the Eldritch world's Lord, and the Lord of the Dark World had a great battle. In the end, the Lord of the Dark World was severely injured and sealed, while the Eldritch world's Lord disappeared without a trace. However, 108 eras have passed, and the tribulation of the Eldritch world is coming. I'm afraid the Lord of the Dark World will break out of the seal soon. If he breaks out of the seal, he will definitely invade the Eldritch world. When the time comes, if you meet him, there will be a battle. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said slowly. It was as if Ling Xiao had become the true master of the Eldritch world after attaining Dao transcendence. Therefore, the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain no longer hid anything from Ling Xiao and told him everything. When the Void World opens, I will make a trip there. Ling Xiao nodded and said, Please believe that everything I've done is for the sake of this world's survival. As for Zhao Ritian, I'm very sorry. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain looked deeply at Ling Xiao and said, I hope what you said is true. After completing the cycle of reincarnation, I can save Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao said calmly, and then turned around to head to the Eldritch world. No matter what, he still had a grudge against the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain. He knew that the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was not lying, and that his transcendence would be greatly beneficial to everyone. However, it was not fair to Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian's last words were still echoing in Ling Xiao's mind. This time you won't abandon me again. Every time he thought of it, he felt as if a knife was being twisted in his heart. I will save you. Definitely. Ling Xiao muttered to himself softly. The flowing time emperor followed behind him. The light in his eyes fluctuated and no one knew what he was thinking. Peak. Chapter 3376. P.S. I had a fever these past few days and was almost quarantined. My phone was also broken, so I haven't been able to update. I'm sorry everyone. I'll try my best to make it up to everyone. The news of Ling Xiao's Tao affirmation and transcendence swept across the entire Eldritch continent like a hurricane. Countless experts of the Eldritch continent were shaken by this news. They were all filled with shock and awe. Many people didn't even know what transcendence was. To them, great emperors were invincible existences. But after someone explained, everyone was shocked. The so-called transcendents are supreme existences who have transcended the heavenly Tao and jumped out of the cycle of reincarnation. They are immortal and indestructible. They can also be called eternal great emperors. This is because in ancient times, only transcendents were true great emperors. The great emperors that we think of are only great emperors or fake great emperors. An incomparably ancient great demon emperor explained. The great demon emperor was said to be a descendant of the world tree. His original form was a towering divine tree. He was incomparably ancient and had lived for countless eras. He was also incomparably benevolent and deeply trusted by everyone. The demon spirit great emperor knew many secrets. After he came out to explain, everyone instantly understood. Only transcendents are true great emperors? And the great emperors that we think of are just fake great emperors? This news will probably shock the entire Eldritch continent. So what? It said that in the first era, the so-called Battle of Emperors Fall was just a battle between a bunch of fake great emperors. If the true great emperors didn't appear, who could compete? Before Ling Xiao's Tao affirmation, he was already invincible. Now that he has become a transcendent, I'm afraid no one in the Eldritch continent can match him. News just came that Ling Xiao asked the Flowing Time Emperor and the Karma Emperor to go to the Ling Xiao Celestial Court and ask for punishment. What? The Flowing Time Emperor and the Karma Emperor aren't to be trifled with. They are known as two rulers and their strength is incomparably heaven-defying. Will they be willing to admit defeat? The Eldritch continent seemed to have been completely ignited because of Ling Xiao's Tao affirmation. Many powerful beings were discussing fervently. The human race was even more excited than the others. Originally, the news from the chaotic void made the human race feel as if they were facing a great enemy. They were all extremely worried, afraid that Ling Xiao would die under the attacks of so many experts. But what was unexpected was that not only did Ling Xiao not fall, he even rose up in defiance of the natural order and achieved transcendence. The Primal Chaos Emperor was known as the leader of the four sovereigns, but he had been killed by Ling Xiao with a single punch. The Flowing Time Emperor was an invincible expert who had survived from the first era. He had once stolen the source energy of the heavenly Tao. Now he had been subdued by Ling Xiao and had become his servant. All of this gave the human race endless hope. The human race will definitely rule the primordial world and dominate the world. Celestial Emperor, did you see it? A trembling old man was holding a walking stick. His face was full of wrinkles, as if half of his body had already been buried. However, at this moment, his eyes were filled with incomparable excitement and gratification. Lord Ling Xiao will definitely lead the human race to a new era. Many supreme experts of the human race were inexplicably excited. Originally, many people were still unwilling to submit to the Ling Xiao heavenly court, but now no one doubted anything. They all felt incomparably fortunate and honored. Ling Xiao heavenly court. Ling Xiao and the Flowing Time Emperor walked through the void. Greetings, Lord Ling Xiao. Lord Ling Xiao is the ruler of the world. invincible and immortal. Within the Lingxiao heavenly court, the eyes of the experts were filled with incomparable fanaticism and worship. They all knelt before Lingxiao, and their voices were like thunder, shaking the 9 heavens. Although they were all fanatical followers of Lingxiao, ever since they knew that Lingxiao was actually Lingxiao's clone, they all transferred their fanatical worship to Lingxiao. Therefore, the entire Lingxiao heavenly court was now Lingxiao's loyal follower. Even if Lingxiao asked them to die now, they would not even frown. "Everyone get up," Lingxiao said calmly. He raised his hand, and suddenly, an invisible force spread out. Throughout the Lingxiao heavenly court, the millions of experts who were kneeling could not help but stand up. One had to know that there was no lack of sage rulers, and even imperial emperors among them. However, they did not even notice any energy fluctuations and stood up involuntarily, as if they had lost control of their bodies. Instead of being shocked, they were overjoyed, and the fanaticism in their eyes became even stronger. Looking at the vast sea of faith clouds in front of him, and the golden dragon of providence that was hundreds of millions of feet long, Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with emotion. He had succeeded in proving his Tao and transcending. However, Ling Xiao of faith, Ling Xiao of darkness, and Zhao Ritian had all fallen. Ling Xiao of faith and Ling Xiao of darkness had already proven their Tao and become emperors. They had cut off the connection with Ling Zhao's main body, and became independent individuals. Even if Ling Xiao fell, they would not die. They could have not gotten involved in this mess, but they still chose to die for Ling Xiao. Zhao Ritian was the same. Although the primordial spirits of faith and darkness have merged into my body, their true spirits have been completely shattered. Unless I can reconstruct the cycle of reincarnation, there's no hope for them to be resurrected. Ling Xiao thought to himself. With his current means, it was not difficult for him to split 2 primordial spirits and reconstruct the clones of darkness and faith. However, they were no longer darkness and faith. Their true spirits had been shattered and dissipated in the chaotic void. Even with Ling Zhao's means, it was impossible for him to collect all of them, unless he could reconstruct the cycle of reincarnation, and use the power of reincarnation to guide their true spirits back. It seems like I have to make a trip to the void world no matter what, Ling Xiao thought to himself. Whoosh! His figure landed in the heavenly court like a stream of light. Many familiar faces came into view in the heavenly court. Jin Sei, Changsheng the old goat, Daoist Wuliang, Duguqiubai, Yi Liangchen, the white dragon horse, and the others were all extremely excited. Brother Ling Xiao, you're fine. Thank goodness you're fine. Jin Sei's face was filled with a warm and bright smile, but as she smiled and smiled, tears began to flow down her face. Ling Zhao's heart trembled slightly. He walked forward and hugged Jin Sei. Feeling Jin Sei's trembling body, Ling Xiao hugged her even tighter. Daddy, Changsheng has grown up. Changsheng will help Daddy beat up the bad guys in the future. Changsheng held Ling Zhao's hand obediently and raised her head. Her beautiful big eyes were filled with determination. Everyone smiled as they watched the scene unfold before them. No one came forward to disturb them. Everyone's heart was filled with the joy of surviving a calamity. Although they had been well protected by the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, if Ling Xiao had really died, it would have been tantamount to the collapse of their pillar of support. Now that Ling Xiao had returned safely and with the status of being the strongest in the world, they were all excited and proud. Where's Xue Wei? Ling Xiao chatted with everyone for a while, but when he found that Xue Wei was missing from the crowd, a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. He could not sense Xue Wei's aura in the entire Ling Xiao celestial court. Xue Wei was taken away by the reincarnation emperor. Jin Sei looked at Ling Xiao and said, "What?" Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Previously, when he was crossing the Transcendence Tribulation, the reincarnation emperor and Luo Luo had helped him. However, he did not expect Xue Wei to be taken away by the reincarnation emperor. Xue Wei is the daughter of the reincarnation emperor. Behind him, the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain's voice sounded. The daughter of the reincarnation emperor? Isn't Xue Wei the daughter of the Scarlet Dragon War God, the weapon spirit of the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao turned around and looked at the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain with some doubt. It's a long story. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain sighed softly. You should have seen that the reincarnation emperor is different from the other three because he has his own goals and wants to take revenge. What he wants to do most is to reshape the reincarnation cycle of this world, and let this world completely transcend the restrictions of life and death to become an eternal world. However, although the Lord of the Dark World is asleep, many creatures in the Dark World want to invade the untainted world at all times. Therefore, the Reincarnation Emperor has been guarding the Dark World all these years. In addition to monitoring the Lord of the Dark World, he also wants to prevent the creatures in the Dark World from invading the untainted world. The Reincarnation Emperor's two daughters, Luoluo and Shuewei, were reincarnated in the untainted world in a special way. Of course, it was not a real reincarnation, but more like a nirvana rebirth. However, in the process of reincarnation, they were used by the Scarlet Dragon War God to help you. However, the Reincarnation Emperor saw through this and took Luoluo away after you ascended. The reason why Shuewei stayed in the divine world is that she needs to have children with you. The children of Yu and Shuewei are the nemesis of the Lord of the Dark World. This time he felt that the Lord of the Dark World was about to wake up, so he took Shuewei away to completely suppress the Lord of the Dark World and reshape the reincarnation cycle. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain explained. Children? Suppress the Lord of the Dark World? If that's the case, then Shuewei. Ling Zhao's heart trembled and his eyes were filled with disbelief. That's right. When Shuewei left, she was already pregnant with your child. When the child is born, it will be the time for the Reincarnation Emperor to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain nodded. My child. Damn it. The Reincarnation Emperor wants to use my child to suppress the Lord of the Dark World? Ling Zhao's heart trembled. Suddenly, as if he had thought of something, his expression changed abruptly, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. The child of Yu and Shuewei is an innate reincarnation body, and contains a trace of innate reincarnation power. The Reincarnation Emperor can use this power to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain seemed to know what Ling Zhao was thinking and said slowly, At that time, I was protecting you. If the Reincarnation Emperor wanted to take Shuewei away, no one could stop him. Moreover, even if I was there, I could not stop the Reincarnation Emperor. His true strength is not far from the Transcendence Realm. Chapter 3377. What will happen to my son and Shuewei's son after the Lord of the Dark World is suppressed? Ling Zhao asked expressionlessly. His voice was bone-chilling. His life will not be in danger, but he will lose a trace of the innate reincarnation power. He will turn from an innate reincarnation body to a mortal body. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain replied. Damn it. Even if my life is not in danger, I will not let Shuewei and my son come to any harm. So what if he is the Lord of the Dark World? If the Reincarnation Emperor can't suppress him, I will. Ling Zhao's eyes were full of murderous intent. There seemed to be lightning flashing around him, as if he was going to break through the void and go to the Dark World in the next moment. Although you have transcended, you have not completely integrated with the myriad Tao Golden Core. I'm afraid there is a big gap between your strength and that of the Lord of the Dark World. The Lord of the Dark World is about to be born. The Reincarnation Emperor must have seen this, so he came up with this plan. In my opinion, you should go to the Void World as soon as possible to rebuild the reincarnation in this world. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said seriously. The Void World has opened? Ling Zhao asked. That's right. The Void World has opened. I'm afraid the lords of the various worlds will go to the Void World to fight for the opportunity to rebuild the reincarnation. Ling Zhao, if the opportunity to rebuild the reincarnation falls into the hands of others, the Eldritch world will be completely destroyed. Except for you, everyone will die. So you can't be impulsive. Your son and Shuewei's son will not die. On the contrary, if you go to the Dark World now and miss the real opportunity, he will die. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said sincerely. Reason tells me that what you said is right and the best choice. But I don't want my son and Shuewei's son to be hurt. So I have to go to the Dark World. As for the opportunity to rebuild the reincarnation, if it is taken by others, I will take it back. I will kill anyone who dares to stop me. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply, and his body emitted a murderous aura. Seeing that Ling Xiao had made up his mind, the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain could not help but smile bitterly. He knew that he could not stop Ling Xiao. He hoped that the opportunity to rebuild the reincarnation in the void world would not be taken by others so quickly. Ling Xiao, come out and accept your death. At this moment, a cold voice exploded in the sky of the Ling Xiao celestial court. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled, and the great Tao rumbled. Two figures with torrential auras appeared above the 9 heavens, emitting a boundless murderous aura. One of them was tall, with a green face and fangs, and a pair of wings on his back. His body was extremely powerful, and he emitted a kind of immortal fluctuation. One of them had a feminine and handsome face, and his entire body seemed to be one with the darkness. In his eyes, there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood, and there was an endless hell. He was like a ghost king of the netherworld. It was Emperor Hamba and Emperor Impermanence. A cold glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as he shot up into the sky. Rumble. Thunder rumbled in the surroundings as heaven and earth shook violently. Ling Xiao's body seemed to be enveloped by a layer of void fire. That incomparably terrifying aura made the entire eldritch continent tremble slightly. Die. Ling Xiao's face was incomparably cold as he emitted a torrential murderous aura. He punched out, and an unparalleled fist print seemed to fill the sky in an instant, enveloping Emperor Hanba and Emperor Impermanence. Ling Xiao knew from the primordial spirit of Emperor Impermanence that these two were the subordinates of the Lord of the Dark World. Their battle strength was close to that of a transcendent expert, and their strength was incomparably terrifying. Even Emperor Impermanence was no match for them. Ling Xiao's heart was filled with anger. Just as he was about to head to the Dark World, these two people came to the Ling Xiao celestial court, and even asked Ling Xiao to come out and die. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not waste any time talking to them. He immediately attacked. How dare you? Emperor Hamba's eyes flashed with murderous intent as a torrential corpse aura rose from his body. He flapped his wings and punched towards Ling Xiao. Emperor Impermanence also charged towards Ling Xiao. Black light rose from his body, and in an instant, thousands of black shadows appeared in the void and pounced towards Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. Rumble. The two fists collided, and the void trembled. Emperor Hamba's body trembled, and his arm suddenly exploded, turning into a pile of dust. His entire body was violently sent flying. Scram! Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably cold. With a roar, it was as if his words were the law. In an instant, a dazzling golden glow bloomed around him. Runes rose up one after another like the laws of the world. They turned into bolts of lightning and collided with the black shadows that filled the sky. Crack! The black shadows were formed by Emperor Impermanence's primordial spirit power, but they all collapsed at this moment. Emperor Impermanence's entire body trembled violently, as if he had been hit by an invisible force. He suddenly coughed out a mouthful of blood, and was instantly sent flying. What? He hasn't completely refined the myriad path golden core. How can he be so strong? Emperor Hanba and Emperor Impermanence's eyes were filled with disbelief. Although Ling Xiao had passed the Transcendence Tribulation, they knew better than anyone that after passing the Transcendence Tribulation, although one could be called a transcendent, merging with the myriad path golden core was a long process. Only by completely merging with the myriad path golden core would one be able to unleash the ultimate power of a transcendent. In their opinion, no matter how strong Ling Xiao was now, he was probably on the same level as Emperor Impermanence. They never thought that Ling Xiao would unleash such heaven-defying battle strength right from the start. Rumble. Ling Xiao's expression was extremely cold. He took a step forward, and time seemed to stop. In an instant, he was in front of Emperor Hanba and punched out again. Emperor Hanba seemed to have thought of something when he sensed Ling Xiao's mysterious and transcendent aura. He couldn't help but tremble all over. You merged with 3 bodies. How is that possible? His voice was filled with horror as if he had seen a ghost. Crack. However, in the next moment, Ling Xiao's unparalleled fist print was already in front of him. Emperor Hanba could even feel his primordial spirit trembling from the punch. It was as if his soul was about to be destroyed. There was no way he could block that punch. Destiny Emperor. How dare you mislead me? You deserve to die. The drought demon martial monarch let out a cry of despair. Boom. His voice came to an abrupt halt when Ling Zhao's punch landed on his chest. Then his indestructible body that was comparable to an apex emperor weapon crumbled like sand. Even his primordial spirit crumbled and turned into ashes, disappearing from the world. It was as if he had been completely wiped out. Seeing this, Impermanence Emperor was so scared that his entire body trembled. He turned around and dashed away without saying a word. Just like Emperor Hanba, he hated Destiny Emperor to the core. They had come to cause trouble for Ling Xiao because of Destiny Emperor's instigation. Destiny Emperor had pretended to side with the Lord of the Dark World, and told them that Ling Xiao had just passed the Transcendence Tribulation. However, he had hidden the fact that Ling Xiao had merged with 3 bodies. If they had known that Ling Xiao had merged with 3 bodies, they would not have dared to cause trouble for Ling Xiao even if they had 10 times the guts. In the next moment, Ling Xiao appeared in front of Emperor Impermanence. He reached out and grabbed Emperor Impermanence by the neck, lifting him up. A mysterious force invaded Emperor Impermanence's body, rendering him immobile. His heart was filled with despair when he saw the cold expression on Ling Xiao's face. Lord Ling Xiao, please spare my life. We are the servants of the Lord of the Dark World. If we had known that you had merged with 3 bodies, we would not have dared to offend you. It was Destiny Emperor who asked us to steal your myriad Dao Golden Core. Emperor Impermanence's voice was trembling as he spoke. Destiny Emperor? You really don't know what's good for you. Ling Zhao's eyes glinted coldly. He had sent word for Destiny Emperor and Karma Emperor to come and beg for forgiveness. Who would have thought that they would dare to play such dirty tricks? Drought Emperor and Impermanence Emperor were indeed strong. They were not weaker than Chaos Emperor at his peak, but they were nothing but ants in front of Ling Xiao. Without transcending, one would not know the true strength of a transcendent. Not to mention that Ling Xiao had merged with 3 bodies. He was one with the heavens and immortal. Even if he had not completely merged with the myriad Dao Golden Core, he was not afraid of the Lord of the Dark World. Boom! Flames of nothingness rose from Ling Zhao's palm and enveloped Emperor Impermanence. Emperor Impermanence let out a cry of despair and turned into ashes, disappearing from the world. Drought Emperor and Impermanence Emperor had charged over, but no one had expected that they would be killed without even being able to retaliate. The powerful great emperors were all trembling with fear. Their eyes were filled with fear. Ling Zhao's strength had given them a deeper understanding of him. Ling Xiao ignored them and returned to the Ling Xiao Celestial Court. To him, killing Drought Emperor and Impermanence Emperor was as easy as crushing 2 ants. Ling Xiao, Destiny Emperor and Karma Emperor have left the Eldritch World. It seems that they have gone to the Void World. Not only does the Void World have the opportunity to reshape reincarnation, but it also has the inheritance of a transcendent. It seems that they are unwilling to submit, so they want to take a gamble in the Void World. I suggest that you go to the Void World now. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said seriously. No. Before going to the Void World, I want to make a trip to the Dark World. Ling Xiao shook his head. He felt increasingly uneasy. The Reincarnation Emperor wanted to use his and Shui Wei's son to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. Although Ling Xiao was furious, he was more worried. Although the Reincarnation Emperor was strong, he was not a transcendent. He probably could not imagine the strength of a transcendent, especially the Lord of the Dark World, who had existed for more than 100 eras. It was hard to imagine how strong he was now. If the Reincarnation Emperor was not careful, it would not only be Ling Zhao's son who would have his innate reincarnation power extracted. Shui Wei and his son would be in danger. He had to go to the Dark World immediately. All right. But you'd better not spend too much time in the Dark World. You must go to the Void World as soon as possible. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain knew that he could not stop Ling Xiao and sighed. Senior Emperor, please take care of the Ling Xiao Celestial Court. Ling Xiao nodded, turned around, and took a step forward toward the chaotic void. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain was extremely strong. He was the spirit of the heavenly Tao. In the current Eldritch world, no one could pose a threat to him. Moreover, Ling Xiao had left the flowing time emperor behind. The Ling Xiao celestial court should be safe. In order to let Ling Xiao go to the void world with peace of mind, the emperor of Kunwu Mountain would definitely do his best to protect Ling Xiao's friends and family. After all, the emperor of Kunwu Mountain also hoped to borrow Ling Xiao's power to reshape reincarnation and allow the eldritch world to completely transcend the apex. Chapter 3378. Looking from the endless chaos, Dark Realm and Eldritch World looked like two huge balls. They were very close to each other and were connected by a twisted passageway. The passageway seemed to be sealed by some mysterious power. Even a great emperor expert would find it difficult to open it. But that kind of seal was nothing to Ling Xiao. He waved his sleeve and a mysterious power spread out. It was as if a void door had opened. The vast and mysterious power of space-time flowed, and an ancient passageway appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Swoosh! Ling Xiao took a step forward. Like a stream of light, he entered the dark world instantly. Dark Realm. This was an incomparably mysterious and ancient world. It seemed to be even vaster than the untainted world. The void was filled with a layer of strange black mist. The black mist seemed to be able to erode everything, and there were many powerful and strange creatures hidden in it. To the creatures in Eldritch World, the black mist was a kind of poison. If they came into contact with it, it would erode their physical body and primordial spirit. However, to the creatures in Dark Realm, the black mist was the source of their power. The black mist is a kind of extremely pure dark energy. It is the opposite of the origin energy of Eldritch World. The black mist floated in Ling Xiao's palm, as if it had a mind of its own. It wanted to enter Ling Xiao's palm. However, Ling Xiao's palm was filled with a blurry light. It was immortal and mysterious. It seemed to be able to disperse all energy. Ling Xiao guided a bit of the black mist into his body. This type of dark energy was extremely destructive and corrosive, and it even had an extremely strange life force. Although it was difficult to refine, it was nothing to Ling Xiao. He refined it in an instant. Dark Realm is so strange. It seems to be the dark side of Eldritch World. Ling Xiao guessed in his heart. He was a transcender. He had surpassed the heavens way. With his current realm, he could observe all the heavens with a single thought. Although Dark Realm was vast, it was nothing to him. After entering Dark Realm, it was as if he could see everything. Previously, the evil spirit had guessed that Eldritch World and Dark Realm were like the yin and yang sides of a great universe. The two sides combined to form a real universe. Now that Ling Xiao had transcended, he vaguely felt that perhaps the evil spirit's guess was right. The evil spirit is still hidden in the wordless heavenly book. I wonder if it will be discovered by the artifact spirit? Ling Xiao thought to himself. After all, the Scarlet Dragon War God was the real tool spirit of the wordless heavenly book. The evil spirit was just a pseudo-tool spirit. In Ling Xiao's opinion, the evil spirit was likely to have been erased by the Scarlet Dragon War God. If what the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain said is true, I'm afraid the Scarlet Dragon War Immortal should have gone to the Void World by now, right? Ling Xiao thought to himself. In the center of the Dark World, the Golden Mountain exuded a mysterious and immortal light. It was as if it could dispel all the black mist and prevent those strange creatures from approaching. The last time he came to the Dark World, he only caught a glimpse of it. In the end, he fought for the secret of transcendence in the Golden Mountain. The Transcendence Scroll that appeared in the Golden Mountain allowed Ling Xiao to obtain the complete fate-reversing art. That Transcendence Scroll might have been left behind by the former Chaos Lord, right? However, since the Dark Realm Master has been sealed, where is the Chaos Master? Ling Xiao guessed. Although he had now attained Dao Transcendence, there were still many unknowns for Ling Xiao. The most important thing now is to find Shuiwei's whereabouts. Ling Xiao whispered to himself. His thoughts spread out and spread toward the Dark World, as if the entire Dark World was under his control. This feeling was very strange. Soon, Ling Xiao found Shuiwei's whereabouts. Shuiwei is on the Golden Mountain? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He saw Shuiwei, who was dressed in white and looked extremely pale, sitting cross-legged on the top of the Golden Mountain at this moment. The surrounding black mist surged as if there were countless strange creatures in it, but none of them dared to approach the Golden Mountain. Ling Xiao tore the space and took a step forward. The next moment, he appeared on the Golden Mountain. Shui Wei. Ling Xiao called out softly. Seeing Shui Wei in front of him, Ling Xiao's eyes were full of pity. Shui Wei's face was a little pale at this moment, as if her vitality had been greatly damaged. Her lower abdomen was slightly bulging, as if there was life in it. That's my child. Ling Xiao was extremely excited. Young master. Shui Wei's body trembled as she suddenly turned her head. Seeing Ling Xiao in the void above, she was instantly overjoyed. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something, and her expression became extremely anxious. She hurriedly said to Ling Xiao, "Young master, hurry up and leave. It's dangerous here." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt that the Golden Mountain seemed to be emitting an extremely dangerous aura. It was a kind of fluctuation that made him feel danger. There was no fluctuation of a formation here, nor were there any powerful creatures. Why did it give him such a feeling? Even if I have to leave, I'll take you with me. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Although he did not know where the danger came from, he was very clear that it was probably a trick left behind by the Reincarnation Emperor. He took a step forward and instantly arrived beside Shui Wei. "Young master, you shouldn't have come. It's very dangerous here. The Lord of the Dark World is suppressed under this mountain. He's about to come out." Shui Wei's eyes were filled with anxiety as she said to Ling Xiao. "Lord of the Dark World? Why didn't I sense his existence?" "Shui Wei, don't be afraid. Even if it's the Lord of the Dark World, he won't be able to hurt you and the child in your belly," Ling Xiao said slowly with a trace of determination in his eyes. "Ling Xiao, you shouldn't have come." An old voice resounded in the void. In front of him, light flashed and two figures appeared in the void. They were the Reincarnation Emperor and Luoluo. The voice just now came from the Reincarnation Emperor. "Reincarnation Emperor, I don't care if you want to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. But if you want to put Shui Wei and our child in danger, I won't agree." Ling Xiao stared at the reincarnation path and said coldly, "Shui Wei is my daughter. She has her own destiny. It's her destiny to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. Ling Xiao, you also have your own destiny. It's your destiny to go to the Void World and reshape the reincarnation cycle in this world." The Reincarnation Emperor was not angry. Instead, he looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Brother Ling Xiao, don't worry. I'll protect my sister, and won't let any harm come to her. Go to the Void World quickly." Luoluo also looked at Ling Xiao with some concern. "Destiny? I, Ling Xiao, have walked all the way to where I am today. I've never believed in fate. Today, if anyone dares to hurt Shui Wei, I won't go easy on them, including you," Ling Xiao said coldly as he stared at the Reincarnation Emperor, with a tinge of arrogance in his eyes. He took a step forward and walked toward Shui Wei. Rumble. At this moment, a blazing light rose around Shui Wei's body. It was as if there were 6 mysterious lights rising up, like a hexagram array, instantly shooting into the sky. 6 dazzling light pillars formed a mysterious space and trapped Shui Wei in it like a prison. At the same time, a mysterious force surged into Shui Wei's body. "Open!" Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold as he threw out a punch. His fist print could annihilate everything and was unparalleled. Even someone as powerful as the Drought Emperor could not withstand his punch. However, when his punch hit the light pillar, it was as if he had hit an immortal metal. The light pillar trembled slightly and emitted a dazzling light. "It's useless. This is the 6 Paths of Reincarnation array. It contains the power of reincarnation. Although you are a transcendent, you won't be able to break this array in a short time. Ling Xiao, get out of the way. I want to use the power of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation array to suppress the Lord of the Dark World. Otherwise, if he comes out, I'm afraid you won't be able to get the opportunity to reconstruct reincarnation." The Reincarnation Emperor said calmly. He stepped into the void and his aura was ethereal and mysterious. It was as if he had formed a mysterious connection with Shui Wei. There seemed to be a mysterious reincarnation aura in Shui Wei's body that wanted to rush out of her body and merge with the Reincarnation Emperor. Seeing this, Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with a monstrous killing intent. He knew that the Reincarnation Emperor was extracting the innate reincarnation power. It was the power that belonged to his and Shuiwei's child. Brother Ling Xiao, please leave. I've let you down. But for your survival and to suppress the Lord of the Dark World, please pretend that you have never seen me. Shuiwei's eyes were red and tears streamed down her face. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Her eyes were filled with deep affection and reluctance to part with Ling Xiao. There was also a deep sense of guilt and desperation in her eyes. So what if it's the 6 paths of reincarnation array? So what if it's the Lord of the Dark World? Shuiwei, I want to save you. Who in this world dares to stop me? Ling Xiao seemed to have gone mad. His eyes were extremely sharp, and it was as if a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood were boiling. The monstrous aura around him exploded. His body exuded an eternal radiance. The myriad golden cores in his body were merging rapidly. The mysterious power merged with his arm, and the entire world seemed to be trembling violently. Crack! Like an earth-shattering thunderbolt, Ling Xiao's fist print was extremely dazzling. In an instant it landed on the 6 paths of reincarnation array. The dazzling light pillar seemed to contain the power of a golden mountain. It also seemed to contain some kind of transcendent aura. It was originally sturdy and immortal. However, under Ling Xiao's fist, it trembled violently. In the end, a crisp sound rang out and a crack appeared on the dazzling light pillar. What? Seeing this scene, even the Reincarnation Emperor revealed an incredulous expression. He was extremely shocked. Crack! The 6 dazzling light pillars pierced through the heavens and the earth. At the same time, they contained an endless power. However, under Ling Xiao's fist, they exploded instantly. The 6 paths of reincarnation array was shattered. Ling Xiao pulled the pale-faced Shuiwei up and pulled her into his embrace. Oh no! The Reincarnation Emperor's expression changed drastically. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Although he was injured by the backlash of the 6 paths of reincarnation array, his eyes were fixed on the Golden Mountain. Crack! On the Golden Mountain, tiny cracks spread out. An ancient and terrifying aura gushed out from it. The black mist in the surroundings surged violently. The strange creatures seemed to have gone mad, revealing their blood-red eyes as they suddenly lunged toward the Golden Mountain. The peak. Chapter 3379. The Lord of the Dark World has come out. Ling Xiao will hold him back. You take Shuiwei and Luoluo and leave this place quickly. The Samsara Emperor's face was extremely solemn as he hurriedly said to Ling Xiao. Rumble. The Golden Mountain shook violently and a terrifying aura gushed out from it. The cracks on the Golden Mountain grew deeper and deeper, as though it was going to collapse at any moment. Black mist rose from the surroundings. The strange creatures seemed to have gone mad, and wanted to rush over in a frenzy. The Lord of the Dark World was sealed under the Golden Mountain. He was the master of all the creatures in the Dark World. They seemed to be welcoming the birth of the Lord of the Dark World, and were extremely excited. So what if he's the Lord of the Dark World? You can't stop him. Only I can fight with him. Ling Xiao said slowly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. He could feel that there seemed to be a terrifying creature awakening within the Golden Mountain. That terrifying aura made him feel a strong sense of threat. However, Ling Xiao did not intend to leave. The Eldritch World and the Dark World were destined to merge. Between him and the Lord of the Dark World, only one of them could survive. Ling Xiao, although you have attained Dao Transcendence, the strength of the Lord of the Dark World is beyond your imagination. 108 eras ago, the Lord of the Eldritch World could not kill him. He could only seal him here. You are no match for him. The Reincarnation Emperor said with a solemn expression. How would I know if I don't fight? Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes were brimming with an unparalleled fighting spirit. Rumble. At this moment, the Golden Mountain shook violently. In the end, a terrifying black divine light gushed out from it, and the Golden Mountain exploded into pieces. At the bottom of the Golden Mountain, there was a huge crater. Black light spewed out from the crater, exuding extremely pure dark energy. An incomparably powerful aura had awoken from within. Crack. In the void, black lightning intertwined. The void distorted violently and the earth trembled. Boundless black mist surged in from all directions. Many strange creatures appeared around the pit and let out creepy sounds. It was as though they were welcoming their king. The aura of a transcendent. Desolate, are you still alive? An old and cold voice rang out, causing everyone to tremble. From the deep pit, a mysterious figure shot up into the sky, exuding an unparalleled murderous aura. It was as if a chaos demon god had come into being, terrifying to the extreme. A black-robed elder appeared in front of Ling Xiao and the Samsara Emperor from the boundless black light. His figure was tall, and his face was extremely old. His eyes were filled with cruelty, coldness, indifference, and killing intent. The aura around him was extremely distorted, and there was a black lightning mark between his brows. It added a terrifying aura to him. The Lord of the Dark World was born. Aren't you from the primordial world? Has it been so many years? Another transcendent has appeared in the Your Wild's world? The eyes of the Master of the Dark World landed on Ling Xiao, with a hint of judgment, high and mighty. As for the Reincarnation Emperor, Shuewei, and Luo Luo, he completely ignored them. Only Ling Xiao, who was also a Nirvana-level expert, could enter his eyes. The others were nothing more than ants in his eyes, not even worth mentioning. You are the Lord of the Dark World. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely sharp as he stared at the Lord of the Dark World. Yes, I am. Have you just passed the Transcendence Tribulation? Although you are a Transcendent, you do not have the combat strength of a Transcendent. Kneel down and submit to me, and I will spare your life. The Lord of the Dark World stared at Ling Xiao coldly and said, If you want me to submit to you, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Ling Xiao said flatly, You want to fight with me? Ha. You are overestimating yourself. If it wasn't for the trap set by that despicable Desolate, how could I have been sealed for so long? Since you don't know what's good for you, I will fulfill your wish. The Lord of the Dark World sneered, and his eyes were filled with mockery. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, he instantly attacked. A huge palm slammed down on Ling Xiao. The unparalleled palm print seemed to be able to suppress everything. It was like a black curtain that covered the sky and the earth. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Sensing the power and terror of the palm, Ling Xiao was not afraid at all. Instead, his fighting spirit became even stronger. He threw out a punch and the unparalleled fist print was surrounded by chaotic light. It was as if there were 3,000 worlds pressing down from the sky. It collided with the Lord of the Dark World instantly. Crack. The void trembled violently as if it was about to be completely annihilated. Terrifying fluctuations spread out and large patches of black mist were annihilated. The strange creatures were turned into dust. Ling Xiao's body shook violently and he was sent flying. As for the Lord of the Dark World, his body swayed slightly, and he threw out another palm to suppress Ling Xiao. You just passed the Transcendence Tribulation and you have such combat strength? It seems that I have underestimated you. You have obtained the inheritance of the Desolate? In that case, all the more I can't let you live. The Lord of the Dark World's eyes were deep, and there was a strong murderous intent in them. He sensed the aura of the Desolate Lord from Ling Xiao. He and the Desolate Lord could be said to be mortal enemies. He had been sealed by the Desolate Lord for so many years. Even though the Desolate Lord had disappeared, his hatred for the Desolate Lord did not decrease. Instead, it increased day by day. Now that he sensed the aura of the Desolate Lord from Ling Xiao, his murderous intent grew stronger. The Lord of the Dark World is indeed powerful. If the 6 paths of reincarnation formation had not been broken by Ling Xiao, I would have been able to severely injure him, even if I could not kill him with the help of the innate reincarnation power. Now, even with the help of Ling Xiao, it would be difficult for me to defeat the Lord of the Dark World. When the Reincarnation Emperor saw the scene before him, his eyes were filled with worry. Luo Luo, leave with Shuewei first. The Reincarnation Emperor turned to look at Luo Luo. Light flashed in his palm, and an ancient sword appeared. Then he slashed at the Lord of the Dark World. Although Luo Luo's eyes were filled with worry, she knew that she could not afford to distract the Reincarnation Emperor and Ling Xiao. She gritted her teeth and activated the sky-burying coffin to keep Shuewei. Then, the sky-burying coffin soared into the sky and pierced through the thick black fog toward the passageway of the chaotic world. Although the strange creatures in the black fog did not dare to get involved in the battle between the Lord of the Dark World and Ling Xiao, when they saw the sky-burying coffin, they all chased after Luo like cats that had seen a fish. Crack! The reincarnation ancient sword in the reincarnation emperor's hand surged with sword chi. It was as though it was surrounded by the 3,000 great Tao origins, and was extremely sharp. How dare you? The Lord of the Dark World's eyes flashed fiercely. He pointed his finger and a pitch-black finger radiance collided with the ancient reincarnation sword. The ancient reincarnation sword buzzed, and the 3,000 great Tao origins on it seemed to have collapsed in an instant. However, the ancient reincarnation sword was extremely sturdy and indestructible. With a clear trembling sound, it turned into a sharp sword radiance and pierced toward the glabella of the Lord of the Dark World. The Lord of the Dark World was surprised. He had thought that the reincarnation emperor was just an ant that he could crush easily. However, it seemed that the reincarnation emperor was extremely powerful. He was comparable to an ordinary transcendent realm expert. Especially the ancient reincarnation sword. It seemed to contain a mysterious power that made the Lord of the Dark World feel a sense of danger. Boom! The Lord of the Dark World slashed down with his palm. The black blade radiance seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It was extremely sharp and ferocious. In an instant, it collided with the ancient reincarnation sword. The ancient reincarnation sword trembled violently, and the sword chi was destroyed. The blade radiance was extremely ferocious. It sent the reincarnation emperor and the ancient reincarnation sword flying. Die. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely cold. His fighting spirit surged and his blood seemed to be boiling. An unparalleled fist print swept across the void and pressed down on the Lord of the Dark World. The myriad golden core in his body seemed to be fusing continuously during the battle between Ling Xiao and the Lord of the Dark World. Originally, fusing with the myriad Tao golden core was a painstaking effort. In the process of fusing with the myriad Tao golden core, Ling Xiao gradually understood the power of the 3,000 great path origins. It was like a process of pouring water into a bucket, and his strength gradually reached its peak. However, it still required a lot of time. Now during the battle with the Lord of the Dark World, the fusion process seemed to have been accelerated. Rumble. The ferocious fist print was the sovereign's fist that Ling Xiao had comprehended. It could destroy everything. It could pierce through the epic and suppress the heavens. It was extremely powerful. The Lord of the Dark World snorted. After sending the reincarnation emperor flying, he slashed down on Ling Xiao with his palm. At the same time, there seemed to be a dark vortex around the Lord of the Dark World. Black mist gushed into his body crazily, causing his aura to become more and more terrifying. After being suppressed for so many years, the Lord of the Dark World had lost a lot of his strength. The dark energy in the Dark World continued to surge, pushing his strength to skyrocket. Boom! The void shook. The black saber radiance seemed to be able to destroy everything. However, when it collided with Ling Xiao's fist print, the saber radiance and the fist print were instantly annihilated. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely cold. His fighting spirit surged and he was like a chaotic divine demon. He soared across the sky and attacked the Lord of the Dark World. The Dark Realm Lord's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. At the beginning, although Ling Xiao was strong, he did not take him seriously. However, he realized that Ling Xiao's fighting strength was skyrocketing. The horrifying fist print seemed to be able to destroy everything. The Lord of the Dark World was shocked. He has fused 3 bodies. The Lord of the Dark World's eyes narrowed. He seemed to have discovered something and he was in disbelief. The peak. Chapter 3380. The Lord of the Dark World was filled with shock and disbelief. Even when he saw Ling Xiao become a transcender, he wasn't that surprised. However, after seeing Ling Xiao merge with his 3 bodies, the Lord of the Dark World was completely shocked. Even the Lord of the Dark World hadn't completely merged with his 3 bodies. He had only merged with his previous body. However, he couldn't merge with his future body. However, the Lord of the Dark World knew better than anyone else how terrifying the power would be after merging with his 3 bodies. It was a power that would make a transcender feel fear. I can't let him live. Otherwise, he will become even more terrifying than the Chaos Master in the future. When that time comes, I might really die in his hands. The Lord of the Dark World looked at Ling Xiao with a murderous look. Rumble. Black divine light rose from his body, and the surrounding void trembled violently. The power of the entire Dark World seemed to be supporting the Lord of the Dark World. His body exuded a terrifying aura, like that of a chaotic divine demon. It was as if he could destroy the world. Stars revolved around him, and the world was destroyed. All sorts of terrifying scenes appeared. His aura seemed to have increased by 10 times or 100 times in an instant. Die. The Lord of the Dark World roared. His eyes were extremely cold. Black divine light surged out from his palm. In an instant, it was like a vast sea that enveloped Ling Xiao. In the Black Sea, there were powerful and strange creatures. They were like ancient beasts that pounced on Ling Xiao continuously. At the same time, beams of black light that contained the power to pierce through the primordial spirit shot towards Ling Xiao like sword chi intertwining. Ling Xiao felt an extremely strong threat from the Lord of the Dark World. The Lord of the Dark World's strength was extremely terrifying. After all, he was a transcender from the same era as the Chaos Master. Although he had been suppressed for countless years, with the replenishment of the Dark World's origin, his strength was extremely terrifying. Even though Ling Xiao was a transcender and had merged with his 3 bodies, he still felt a strong threat in front of the Lord of the Dark World. However, Ling Xiao didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Instead, his eyes surged with a strong desire to fight. Chaotic light rose from his body and the Dominator's fist suppressed everything. He continuously attacked the Lord of the Dark World. Rumble. The void shook violently. Ling Xiao and the Lord of Dark World were like a ball of chaotic light and a ball of dark light colliding. Every strike could destroy heaven and earth. Their auras were terrifying to the extreme. The figures of Ling Xiao and the Lord of Dark World seemed to have become incomparably distorted. It was impossible to see their traces clearly. However, the ripples of the great battle that swept out shocked the reincarnation emperor. Although Ling Xiao has merged with his 3 bodies, it is still impossible for him to defeat the Lord of the Dark World, unless he can completely fuse with the myriad Tao Golden Core. The Samsara Emperor's eyes were filled with deep worry. However, he also understood that it was almost impossible to completely fuse with the myriad Tao Golden Core at this moment. In the eyes of the Samsara Emperor, Ling Xiao's choice was almost stupid. Could it be that he has other plans? The Samsara Emperor thought to himself. He knew that Ling Xiao was not an impulsive person. Although he came to the Dark World because of Shui Wei, he would not recklessly start a war with the Lord of the Dark World without any assurance. Now that Ling Xiao and the Lord of the Dark World had unleashed their strongest combat strength, even the Samsara Emperor could not intervene. However, the Samsara Emperor could still see that Ling Xiao was at a disadvantage. Rumble. Black light surged violently. An earth-shattering palm came across the sky. It instantly pierced through the layers of chaotic light and hit Ling Xiao's chest directly. Ling Xiao's body shook violently and cracks appeared on his body. In the face of the Lord of the Dark World's invincible palm print that could suppress everything, he seemed to be about to collapse at any time. However, in Ling Xiao's body, the myriad Tao Golden Core shone with eternal light. Streaks of starlight merged into Ling Xiao's body continuously, allowing his physical body to recover rapidly. The starlight was extremely unique and contained the power of the Great Tao origin. In order to completely fuse with the myriad Tao Golden Core, one had to understand the 3000 Great Tao origin and combine the Great Tao into one to obtain invincible strength. The power of the Lord of the Dark World was pure dark energy. Although it would cause terrifying damage to Ling Xiao's physical body, the dark energy seemed to be able to be absorbed by the myriad Tao Golden Core, allowing Ling Xiao to speed up the process of refining the myriad Tao Golden Core. Therefore, although Ling Xiao was severely injured, his aura did not weaken at all. Instead, it began to surge crazily. Unparalleled fist prints continued to attack the Lord of the Dark World. You want to borrow my power to fuse with the myriad Tao Golden Core? You are courting death. The Lord of the Dark World's eyes turned cold as he said coldly, Rumble. The boundless dark energy in his body, accompanied by his powerful attacks, continued to surge into the myriad Tao golden core in Ling Xiao's body. He saw through Ling Xiao's plan at a glance but did not stop him. Instead, he unleashed an even more violent attack, wanting to destroy the myriad Tao golden core and kill Ling Xiao. As a transcendental being, the Lord of the Dark World knew that the myriad Tao golden core was extremely fragile. Ling Xiao's actions were no different from pulling chestnuts out of the fire. If the myriad Tao golden core collapsed, Ling Xiao would be instantly devoured and severely injured. Boom! The surging dark energy continued to surge into Ling Xiao's body. The myriad Tao golden core was originally dazzling with golden light, but at this moment, it seemed to have been infected by the dark energy. It became pitch black and even showed signs of being assimilated by the dark energy. The Lord of the Dark World's palm surged with black light, as if a mysterious ancient rune had appeared. In an instant, it rushed towards the myriad Tao golden core in Ling Xiao's body. Destruction rune. All spells returned to ruins. The obscure syllables rang out from the Lord of the Dark World's mouth. The ancient rune was distorted and contained the pure dark energy origin. In an instant, it was imprinted on Ling Xiao's chest and rushed towards the myriad Tao golden core, as if it had a mind of its own. Buzz. The myriad Tao golden core buzzed and trembled. Strange black runes appeared on its surface, and an incomparably violent energy erupted from it, as if it was about to collapse at any time. At this moment, the corner of Ling Xiao's mouth curled into a cold smile. Explode! He suddenly roared. In an instant, the sovereign's fist bloomed with the radiance of the sun, and collided with the Lord of the Dark World. At the same time, the myriad Tao golden core in Ling Xiao's body spewed out a dazzling golden light. The black dark energy and the golden positive energy collided, and a terrifying aura erupted. Rumble. The entire dark world seemed to tremble violently at this moment. Dazzling light bloomed above the golden mountain, and instantly swept across the void within a radius of 100 million miles. Even the reincarnation emperor could not help but change his expression. He was affected by the terrifying power, and his body shook violently. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and was severely injured in an instant. Ling Xiao, he actually blew up the myriad Tao golden core again? The reincarnation emperor trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. When Ling Xiao was going through the reincarnation tribulation, he had blown up the myriad Tao golden core, and severely injured the scarlet dragon god of war, and the chaotic emperor. However, that was a flawed myriad Tao golden core. It needed to be broken and reconstructed to form a flawless myriad Tao golden core. The flawless myriad Tao golden core was the source of Ling Xiao's power. Once it was completely destroyed, Ling Xiao's Dao foundation would be damaged, and he would be severely injured in an instant. Why did he choose to blow up the myriad Tao golden core at this moment? No. He did not blow up the myriad Tao golden core. That is, the power of the untainted world and the dark world. How? How is this possible? The reincarnation emperor opened his eyes wide, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. In the dazzling light, black mist rose. However, the myriad Tao golden core, which was formed by the intertwining of yin and yang, was half dark energy and half origin of the great ways of the untainted world. One black and one gold intertwined and formed a mysterious balance. The myriad Tao golden core spewed out a beam of golden light, and a beam of black light, and merged into Ling Xiao's body. This made Ling Xiao's aura even more terrifying and unfathomable. At this moment, the reincarnation emperor felt that the aura in Ling Xiao's body was extremely similar to that of the Lord of the Dark World. Impossible. You are a creature from the untainted world. How can you comprehend the origin of dark energy? The dazzling light dissipated, and the Lord of the Dark World looked extremely miserable. His hair was disheveled and he was coughing up blood. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The terrifying power that Ling Xiao had just released contained the power of the untainted world, and the power of the dark world. This made the Lord of the Dark World panic involuntarily. You don't understand what it means to merge three bodies. Moreover, the untainted world and the dark world are originally one. Why can't I comprehend the origin of dark energy? Ling Xiao looked extremely calm as he stared deeply at the Lord of the Dark World. He was indeed using the Lord of the Dark World just now. However, he was not using the Lord of the Dark World to merge with the myriad Tau golden core. Instead, he was using it to devour the origin of dark energy and allow the myriad Tau golden core to transform completely. Only by merging with the origin of dark energy would the myriad Tau golden core be truly perfect and flawless. This was also the secret that Ling Xiao had obtained from the future self after merging with it. The current Ling Xiao was truly a transcendent. Moreover, who told you that the myriad Tau golden core is difficult to merge? That's only because you merged with the incomplete myriad Tau golden core. A perfect myriad Tau golden core is the foundation of transcendence, the cornerstone of the great Tao. Why do you need to merge with it? Ling Xiao said indifferently as he walked towards the Lord of the Dark World. The black and gold myriad Tau golden core became more and more blurry. In the end, it completely merged with Ling Xiao and disappeared. Ling Xiao's aura also became ethereal and transcendent. He walked towards the Lord of the Dark World. It was as if there was an invisible force that suppressed the Lord of the Dark World. What? The Lord of the Dark World's expression suddenly changed. From Ling Xiao's body, he could feel a sense of fatal danger. Chapter 3381. Ling Xiao had been scheming against the Lord of the Dark World since the beginning. After Ling Xiao had passed the Transcendence Tribulation and merged the three bodies, he had sensed the existence of the Lord of the Dark World and understood many secrets. For the past 108 eras, there had been many great emperors. Besides those who had died in the War of the Great Emperors, many of them had died because the Lord of the Dark World had plundered their origins. The Lord of the Dark World also understood that only when the origins of the Eldritch World and the Dark World had merged could he be considered to have truly transcended. Therefore, he had been plundering the Tao fruits and great Tao origins of the great emperors for countless years in order to become the true master of the Eldritch World and the Dark World. At the same time, Shuewei had been brought to the Lord of the Dark World by the Reincarnation Emperor. Ling Xiao had come to the Dark World to fight against the Lord of the Dark World. As expected, the Lord of the Dark World had underestimated Ling Xiao, who had just attained Tao transcendence. As a result, Ling Xiao had taken advantage of the situation and lost a large amount of Dark World's origin energy for nothing. Now Ling Xiao had truly transcended. Although there was no vision of heaven and earth, the aura that Ling Xiao exuded made the Lord of the Dark World feel extremely dangerous. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook. In the Dark World, mist rose and dark energy surged. The vast power of heaven and earth seemed to have gathered on Ling Xiao's body and pressed down on the Lord of the Dark World. It was a strange feeling. After all, he was the master of the Dark World. He was the true master of the Dark World. However, Ling Xiao had taken the initiative. He controlled the universe and charged towards him. Crack. Ling Xiao threw out a punch and the fist print was surrounded by chaotic light. It was black and gold, as if the yin and yang qi were circulating. It also seemed to have evolved into an ancient world in the chaos and shrouded the Lord of the Dark World. The Lord of the Dark World's eyes narrowed, and he instantly unleashed a powerful great Tao origin. Black light rose around him and the origin energy intertwined, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Boom. Heaven and earth shook violently. The Lord of the Dark World's fist print was quickly annihilated. He was shrouded in a vast ancient world. Fist prints pressed down from all directions, containing the power of the world's life and death, and the universe's destruction. This kind of power gave the Dark Realm Lord an illusion. It was as if he had become a small boat in the middle of a raging sea. He felt a strong sense of powerlessness in his heart. Boom, boom, boom. The light of primal chaos shattered as the fist imprints swept out. The body of the Dark World Lord trembled violently. Although he did his best to resist, he still suffered an unimaginable injury in an instant. He was directly sent flying out of the ancient world. His entire body was stained with blood, and his aura was somewhat withered. How is this possible? The Lord of Dark World's eyes were filled with shock. He had never thought that Ling Xiao would be able to unleash a battle prowess that could crush him. Such a terrifying power seemed to even surpass that of the Chaos Master back then, causing the Lord of the Dark World to start panicking in his heart. Gotcha. Ling Xiao's face was indifferent. Chaotic lightning rose around him. His black hair fluttered and his white robe was whiter than snow. He looked like the eternal ruler of the universe. He was surrounded by an invincible and unparalleled aura. It seemed like the four extremes of heaven and earth were under his feet. After severely injuring the Lord of the Dark World with one punch, he did not stop and threw out another punch. This punch seemed to have penetrated the past, present, and future. The long river of time was completely annihilated by this punch. The universe was about to fall into a state of destruction. The Lord of the Dark World still could not avoid it. In fact, a battle between transcendents was thousands of times more terrifying than a battle between emperors. If it was in the endless chaos, it could easily cost the life and death of a world. It was not difficult to break through several worlds in a great battle. This was also because Ling Xiao and the Dark World Master had restrained themselves and restrained their energy fluctuations. They did not want to destroy the Dark World. Otherwise, the entire Dark World would have been destroyed in this battle. Even so, when they felt the terrifying ripples from the battle between Ling Xiao and the Lord of Dark World, all the living beings in the Lord of Dark World felt as if they were facing a great enemy. They felt a fear that came from the depths of their souls. They all trembled and prostrated themselves on the ground. Wow. The Lord of the Dark World's Dark World looked terrible. A light flashed in his palm and a black halberd appeared. There were dark red bloodstains on it, and it emitted a powerful aura. The Dark Royal Halberd. This was the life treasure that the Lord of the Dark World had collected from the chaos. He had used his own origin to cultivate it. In terms of power, it was not weaker than a chaos treasure at its peak. It might even be stronger. Ling Xiao had forced him to use the Dark Royal Halberd. This showed how much pressure Ling Xiao was exerting on him. Rumble. The Dark Royal Halberd was like a dark demonic dragon. It crossed the sky and emitted boundless killing intent. It caused the surrounding sky to tremble violently. It went straight for Ling Xiao's fist radiance. In the void, it was as if a sun had exploded. Dazzling light swept across the western void. The Dark Royal Halberd vibrated violently. The Lord of the Dark World who was holding the Dark Royal Halberd felt his arm go numb. The Dark Royal Halberd almost flew out of his hand. Kill! The Lord of the Dark World's Dark World revealed a trace of madness. The Dark Royal Halberd was pushed to the extreme by him. The surrounding chaotic void looked as if the Dark World was going to be completely shattered by the Dark Royal Halberd. Although Ling Xiao and the Lord of the Dark World were fighting in the sky above the Dark World, it still had a great impact on the Dark World. Dark World violently trembled. Huge divine mountains collapsed one after another, and the earth cracked open. An incomparably terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Even many weak creatures of Dark World directly exploded, and their souls scattered and died. The Lord of the Dark World was completely mad. In order to defeat Ling Xiao, he did not care about the safety of the Dark World. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao with the Dark Royal Halberd. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Xiao's fist prints exploded in the chaotic void again and again. Every punch contained the power to split the heavens and earth. Although the Dark Royal Halberd increased the Lord of the Dark World's combat strength, he was still no match for Ling Xiao. He was still at a disadvantage. Puff! After dozens of rounds, the Dark Royal Halberd flew out of his hand. The Lord of the Dark World spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Ling Xiao stepped forward. The origin energy around him surged. His 5 fingers pointed to the sky. Divine chains of order circled around him. In an instant, a huge palm print came crashing down on the Lord of the Dark World. Ling Xiao's 5 fingers seemed to have turned into 5 pillars that supported the sky. The 5 elements' power grew and multiplied between them. He wanted to imprison the Lord of the Dark World. The Dark Realm Lord's expression changed abruptly. A blood-red light rose from his palm. In an instant, a blood-red ball of light appeared. In the blood-red ball of light, there was a mysterious little tree. There were 3,000 blood-red Dao fruits on it. Each Dao fruit seemed to be a great emperor. The majestic essence of flesh and blood, and the power of primordial spirit nourished the little tree. The branches seemed to be able to connect the heavens. The terrifying aura fluctuated, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Ling Xiao, I will remember you. When I return from the void world, I will kill you. The Lord of the Dark World looked pained. He then waved his hand and the blood-red ball of light flew toward Ling Xiao. Then, he fled into the distance without looking back. Seeing that he was no match for Ling Xiao, the Lord of the Dark World chose to escape. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt a strong threat from the blood-red ball of light. Boom! He punched out. The unparalleled fist print enveloped the heavens and the earth. He wanted to shatter the blood-red ball of light. However, the blood-red ball of light trembled slightly in the void. It seemed to have avoided Ling Xiao's punch, and then bloomed in the void. It was like a blood-red petal blooming, flashing with a demonic light. The blood-red little tree suddenly grew in the void. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a towering tree that was hundreds of millions of feet tall. The space all around seemed to have been solidified by the bloody light. Even Ling Xiao felt a great pressure. Then, one after another, blood-colored fruits of the way fell from the towering tree towards Ling Xiao. They were like blood-colored divine lightning, twisting the void and annihilating everything. Boom! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. A golden sword light bloomed from his palm, and slashed toward the blood-red divine lightning. The lightning bloomed and collided with the sword light. At the same time, they were annihilated. However, the 3,000 blood-red divine lightning contained the ultimate killing intent that could destroy everything. It seemed that there were vengeful spirits among them that pounced toward Ling Xiao. Damn it! These are the vengeful spirits of 3,000 great emperors. Ling Xiao's body shook. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He could see that the vengeful spirits were formed by the lingering thoughts of the great emperors after their deaths. The blood-red tree was nourished by the blood, flesh and primordial spirits of at least 3,000 great emperors. They were all great emperors from the untainted world. Ling Xiao saw the boundless killing intent and endless blood-red light from it. No wonder there were no great emperors in the untainted world for countless years and eras. It turned out that most of the great emperors were treated like pigs by the Lord of the Dark World, and became fertilizer for the blood-red little tree. Rumble! In the next moment, Ling Xiao was enveloped by the endless blood-red lightning. The blood-red light spread out like an ocean, as if it had enveloped the entire dark world. All the creatures in the dark world could see a vast sea of blood surging above the 9 heavens. At the same time, an ancient blood-red tree connected heaven and earth. There seemed to be countless figures with terrifying auras sitting on it. Great Tao Emperor Soul Tree. Damn it, the Lord of the Dark World deserves to die. The Reincarnation Emperor's eyes were filled with hatred. The Great Tao Emperor Soul Tree was nourished by the blood, flesh and primordial spirits of thousands of great emperors from the untainted world. If Ling Xiao had not forced him to the extreme, the Lord of the Dark World would not have been willing to give up the Great Tao Emperor Soul Tree. This was the Lord of the Dark World's final killing move. It was also what he relied on to merge with the origin of the untainted world, and become the Lord of the two worlds. The Reincarnation Emperor knew how terrifying the Great Tao Emperor Soul Tree was. It was an existence that even transcendence would turn pale at the mention of. It could destroy 3,000 origin of the Great Tao. Could Ling Xiao really withstand it? The Samsara Emperor's eyes also revealed a hint of worry. Chapter 3382. Rumble. The blood-red lightning surged like an immemorial sacred mountain. The terrifying aura it contained made the great emperors feel numb. The Reincarnation Emperor stared at the blood-red ancient tree in the void. The blood-red lightning lasted for a long time before it was extinguished. Blazing golden light bloomed like a huge light pillar that reached the heavens and the earth. It collided with the Great Path Emperor Soul Tree in an instant. Crack! The Great Path Emperor Soul Tree cracked inch by inch. It then started to be annihilated and turned into ashes. Ling Xiao stepped out of the blood-red lightning. He was surrounded by dazzling golden light. He used the life-reversing skill to devour the blood-red light and evil aura in the sky to dissolve the resentment of the great emperor vengeful spirits. I will kill the Lord of Dark World. All of you rest in peace. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. The golden light around him was dazzling and holy. It seemed to contain the aura of destiny and the power of cause and effect. Finally, reincarnation appeared, and everything returned to chaos. The vengeful spirits seemed to understand Ling Zhao's words. Their faces, which had been filled with hatred, gradually calmed down. They bowed slightly to Ling Zhao before disappearing into the dazzling golden clouds. His true spirit had already dissipated. All that was left was his obsession. Although he had suffered the destructive attack of the Great Path Emperor Soul Tree, Ling Zhao did not seem to be injured. Instead, he had dissolved the Great Emperor Vengeful Spirits. The Lord of Dark World had escaped. Ling Zhao knew that he must be in the Void World. The blood-red light dissipated and the entire Dark World returned to its gray state. Black mist rose in the surroundings, but it did not dare to get close to Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao floated down from the void and came before the Reincarnation Emperor. Ling Zhao, I did not expect you to come this far. The Reincarnation Emperor said slowly as he looked deeply at Ling Zhao. He had chosen to suppress the Lord of Dark World alone, and even put Shui Wei in danger because he knew that Ling Zhao had just attained Dao Transcendence. His strength had not reached its peak, and he was no match for the Lord of Dark World. However, he had underestimated Ling Zhao's combat strength. If Ling Zhao hadn't come to the Dark World this time, he, Shui Wei, and Luo Luo would have been in danger. After all, the combat power that the Master of Dark World had displayed had exceeded the Reincarnation Emperor's expectations. Senior, I deeply admire you for suppressing the Dark Realm's passageway for so many eras. However, Shui Wei is my wife. I don't wish for her to be in danger. Ling Zhao said seriously to the Samsara Emperor. This time it's my fault. However, since you've defeated the Dark Realm Lord, you're already the strongest person in both realms. But there's still one thing we have to guard against. The Samsara Emperor smiled bitterly and nodded. You mean the Void World? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. That's right. The Samsara Emperor nodded with a strange light in his eyes. The Void World is a mysterious place. That was the place where all worlds returned to ruins, the place where the universe was born and destroyed in the chaos. Therefore, no matter how many fortunes there are in the Void World, it's not an exaggeration. In the Void World, the most precious thing is the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle. Every time the Void World opens, countless transcendents fight for it the most fiercely. Obtaining it can reconstruct the reincarnation cycle of a world and make it eternal. However, in addition to the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle, there are many unfathomable fortunes. For example, the transcendence fortunes, the powerful chaos treasures, and even the murderous items that can destroy a world. The 10 chaos treasures were obtained by the Chaos Lord in the Void World. The infinite demonic armor is also a treasure from the Void World. Therefore, if the Dark Realm Lord obtains a great fortune in the Void World, or even the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle, you'll be in danger. Therefore, you have to go to the Void World as soon as possible, and kill him if possible. The Samsara Emperor's expression was extremely solemn and dignified. The 10 chaos treasures and the infinite demonic armor all came from the Void World? I'm getting more and more curious about the ultimate land of myriad worlds. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up as he spoke slowly. The Netherworld ship could have gone directly to the Void World, but you've been delayed for a while in the Dark Realm. Presumably, someone from the Chaos World has already boarded the Netherworld ship to the Void World. The most likely person is the weapon spirit of the wordless heavenly book. However, since you've already transcended, it won't be difficult for you to cross the Chaos Sea. With your current cultivation, it won't be difficult for you to find the Void World. Before you go to the Void World, I have something for you. Perhaps it can help you find the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle. The Samsara Emperor said slowly. With a flip of his palm, chaotic light suffused his palm, and a chaotic green lotus appeared. There were 36 grades of it, and it looked sparkling and translucent. It was otherworldly, and it emitted an extremely mysterious aura. At the same time, the Samsara Emperor waved his sleeve and a figure walked out of the Samsara Emperor's body. It was a handsome and elegant young man in a green robe. His whole body was covered in a chaotic luster, and there seemed to be a mysterious connection between him and the chaotic green lotus. Greetings, Master. The young man bowed to the Samsara Emperor. Emperor Qing? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of surprise. He was very familiar with this young man. He had seen him in the War God Plane. It was Emperor Qing. He had not expected Emperor Qing to be the disciple of the Samsara Emperor. Moreover, Ling Xiao's eyes lingered on Emperor Qing and the chaotic green lotus. He sensed the strange connection between them, and had a vague guess in his heart. That's right. Emperor Qing is my disciple. Even Luo Luo doesn't know this. This chaotic green lotus is his original body. It is also a treasure that I obtained from the void world. Later on, it transformed and became my disciple. His genuine spirit was reincarnated like Shuiwei and Luo Luo. I even hoped that he could embark on the path of 10,000 Daos, as one, and become a transcendent. However, it seems that only you can become a transcendent. However, Emperor Qing was born in the void world, so he has a certain understanding of the void world, and can sense the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle. If you bring him to the void world this time, he may be of help. The Samsara Emperor seemed to have seen the doubt in Ling Xiao's eyes and explained. I see. Ling Xiao nodded and said, Emperor Qing was the chaotic green lotus? This 36th grade chaotic green lotus was obviously not an ordinary item. Judging from its grade, it was probably a chaotic treasure. Ling Xiao had not expected the Samsara Emperor to have been to the void world. One more thing. The Green Lotus Emperor of the human clan is Emperor Qing's previous incarnation, the Samsara Emperor said, which solved another doubt in Ling Xiao's heart. Senior, since you have been to the void world, don't you plan to go with me this time? Ling Xiao asked aloud. Although my strength is not bad, I am still at the bottom of the void world. There are many transcendents there. If I go with you, I will only distract you. I will stay and look after the untainted world and the dark world. I hope that you can return soon and reconstruct the reincarnation cycle, so that this world can completely transcend. The Samsara Emperor smiled faintly with deep expectations in his eyes. His lifelong wish was to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle, so that this world could completely transcend. For this, he had even given up the chance to transcend, and was willing to pave the way for the future generations. In the darkness, he had suppressed the two worlds for more than 100 eras, and spent countless lonely years. If it was not for his unfulfilled wish, who could bear it? Ling Xiao couldn't help but respect the reincarnation emperor. Senior, don't worry. I will definitely reconstruct the reincarnation cycle, so that all living beings in this world can transcend immortality. Ling Xiao said seriously. I believe in you. My task is done. I am going to see my two daughters. You don't have to worry about my grandson. He still has the innate reincarnation power. Once he is born, his innate reincarnation body will shock the world. It will not be weaker than Changxing's innate chaotic body. The reincarnation emperor smiled at Ling Xiao. Then he waved his sleeves and flew into the distance in a carefree manner. The Samsara Emperor seemed to have unloaded a heavy burden. He felt much more relaxed. However, Ling Xiao also saw that the Samsara Emperor's back had become much older. Ling Xiao bowed respectfully at the Samsara Emperor's back. The Reincarnation Emperor accepted this bow. Ling Xiao, the world has changed. I didn't expect that when we meet again, you have already transcended. This time, I will do my best to help you in your journey to the void world. The Qing Emperor looked at Ling Xiao seriously and said with a faint smile. Thank you, Ling Xiao said with a nod. In the Eldritch world, there was the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, the Flowing Time Emperor, and the Samsara Emperor to protect him. Ling Xiao had nothing to worry about. His most important goal now was to go to the void world and seize the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation cycle. Swoosh! The Qing Emperor's body flashed and turned into a ray of green light that merged into the chaotic green lotus. Ling Xiao waved his sleeves and kept the chaotic green lotus. Then he took a step forward and appeared in the endless chaotic void. Under his feet was the boundless Eldritch world and dark world. In front of him was the boundless Chaos Sea. The Chaos Sea was boundless and no one could say for sure how big it was. Even great emperors rarely ventured deep into the Chaos Sea. If they got lost in it, even great emperors were in danger of dying. Only a true transcendent expert could travel freely, and explore the mysteries of the Chaos Sea without fear. The Chaos Sea was the origin of the myriad worlds. Ancient universes were born in the Chaos Sea, and there were countless universes in the Chaos Sea. Compared to the vast Chaos Sea, the Eldritch World and Dark World were just remote places. Now Ling Xiao was going to a very special place in the Chaos Sea, the Void World. It was the ultimate place of the myriad worlds, and also a place of good fortune. It represented death, but also gave birth to vitality and hope. Ling Xiao's eyes were deep as if he could see through the endless Chaos Sea and see a mysterious unknown place. Then, he leaped up and rushed into the Chaos Sea like a bolt of lightning. Chapter 3383. Chaos Sea. There was no concept of time or space here. There was no world, no life, only eternal chaos. Even a great emperor would get lost if they entered the Chaos Sea rashly. Then they would fall in the Chaos Sea. The Chaos Sea was shrouded in chaos mist. It looked calm and peaceful, but sometimes chaos storms would wreak havoc. Even some newly born worlds couldn't withstand the chaos storms and would be annihilated quickly. If a great emperor encountered a chaos storm, they would be turned into ashes instantly. Even some transcendents might suffer unimaginable injuries if they were caught in a powerful chaos storm. Therefore, even transcendents wouldn't choose to roam the Chaos Sea and explore the unknown unless it was necessary. Ling Xiao didn't know how long he had been flying in the Chaos Sea. Even though his soul was extremely powerful, so powerful that it could even envelop an entire major world, it was still like a tiny droplet in the boundless sea of chaos. Although he didn't know where he was, Ling Xiao could vaguely feel that there was a place in the Chaos Sea that was attracting him, allowing him to sense the correct direction. Ling Xiao was a transcendent now, and could be called an immortal great emperor. His body was immortal and comparable to a chaos treasure. As long as his primordial spirit wasn't destroyed, even the chaos storms couldn't hurt him. He didn't know how long he had been flying in the Chaos Sea. Finally, the eternal and monotonous chaos mist in front of him changed. Rumble. It was as if billions of lightning bolts had exploded, causing the chaos around him to tremble violently. In front of Ling Xiao's eyes, there was a dazzling light. Lightning bolts as large as mountains intertwined, vaguely covering a vast world. Those lightning bolts contained extreme destructive power. Even a great emperor would be smashed to pieces instantly if they touched a trace of it. Only a transcendent's immortal body could resist such terrifying destructive power. Is that the Void World? Ling Xiao's body shook, and a trace of amazement appeared in his eyes. In front of him, chaos waves surged, storms surged, lightning gathered, flames rose, and all kinds of mysterious scenes appeared. Ancient worlds were born one after another, and then they were destroyed rapidly. The power of birth and destruction of the worlds flowed like bubbles, which were incomparably fragile. In fact, Ling Xiao could even see vast and ancient worlds converging from the chaos. They were like rivers returning to the stream, and they were all annihilated here. The extreme destructive aura made Ling Xiao feel a strong sense of danger. It really is the land of endless worlds ultimate. Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The phenomenon before his eyes seemed to have brought him back to the beginning of the world. The scenes of the birth and destruction of those worlds seemed to contain some kind of truth of the world, allowing Ling Xiao's comprehension of the Chaos Sea to increase. Moreover, Ling Xiao could vaguely feel that there seemed to be a powerful life force permeating the Void World. It was a transcendent expert like him. According to the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain, the Void World is the place where all worlds return to ruins. For hundreds of millions of years, countless worlds will be annihilated here after reaching their ends. Moreover, after the opening of the Void World, this place contains opportunities to reshape the reincarnation cycle. I'm afraid those transcenders are the lords of different realms who want to find opportunities to reshape the reincarnation cycle here. Ling Xiao thought to himself. The Void World had been open for some time, and he was already late. Without the slightest hesitation, Ling Xiao swept directly toward the mysterious place shrouded in endless destructive thunderbolts and infinite fire like a bolt of lightning. Crack. Rumble. The destructive thunderbolts and infinite fire, which could burn everything, exploded around Ling Xiao as if they wanted to destroy him completely. It was a vast force that could annihilate a world. Ling Xiao also braced himself to deal with it with all his strength. Bright light rose around him. His body was immortal and mysterious, like crystal-clear glass. When the destructive thunderbolt struck him, there was a sound of metal clashing, and sparks flew in all directions. The everlasting flame enveloped him, wanting to burn him to ashes. However, it was unable to break through his immortal body and enter his body. Ling Xiao finally understood why only the Netherworld ship could reach the Void World. If it were not for the Transcendence Realm, perhaps even peerless experts like the Hongjun Ancestor, the Fate Emperor, and the Karma Emperor could not pass through the destructive thunderbolts and infinite fire. The terrifying destructive force around him put a lot of pressure on Ling Xiao. Boom. In the end, Ling Xiao penetrated the layers of destructive thunderbolts and infinite fire, and entered the Void World. In front of Ling Xiao, there was a vast sea of stars. Stars were reflected in Ling Xiao's eyes, like grains of sand in the Ganges, immeasurable. The vast and ancient star areas were hundreds of millions of times vaster than the untainted land. However, most of those stars were dead stars without any vitality. There were only a few stars that contained vitality. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack, difficult to find. Ling Xiao was a Transcendence Realm expert. His divine consciousness could cover the untainted land, but it could not cover the sea of stars in front of him. Moreover, after Ling Xiao came to the Void World, he found that his cultivation seemed to be suppressed, and the coverage of his divine consciousness seemed to have shrunk 100 times. What a strange Void World. It can actually restrict the cultivation of a Transcendence Realm expert? In the Void World, the cultivation that I can use now is at most equivalent to my strength before the Transcendence Realm, right? Ling Xiao was secretly vigilant. He did not know if the cultivation of others was also restricted. Although there are various opportunities and fortunes in the Void World, the most important is the opportunity to reshape the cycle of reincarnation. Ling Xiao secretly thought to himself. He already felt a sense of urgency. After all, he had come late. In the Void World, there were countless transcendences, and they were probably all aiming for the opportunity to reshape the cycle of reincarnation. There's someone there. Ling Xiao's divine consciousness spread out. On a dead star hundreds of millions of miles away, he sensed a powerful vitality. Whoosh! He took a step forward, and the void around him trembled. Starlight flowed, and a moment later, he appeared on the dead star. This was a dead star full of yellow sand. Except for a few oases in the yellow sand that contained water sources, most of the land was yellow sand that stretched as far as the eye could see. Moreover, the yellow sandstorm seemed to contain some kind of destructive power, which was extremely terrifying. At this moment, several figures were fighting. They were 3 old men in yellow robes, and they were besieging a black-clothed girl. Ling Xiao used the heaven-shrouding technique and quietly came to the dead star without attracting their attention. Dark Nether Master, you'd better surrender obediently. In the Void World, your strength is limited. Moreover, you were just severely injured by the Blood River ruler. You're no match for us at all. Surrender and hand over the treasure, and we can spare your life. Otherwise, you'll definitely die today. One of the old men in yellow robes sneered with a sinister face. You don't even think about it. Although the black-clothed girl called the Dark Nether Master had a beautiful face, her face was as pale as a sheet of paper, and her eyes were filled with anger and killing intent. You're still so stubborn when you're about to die? Dark Nether Master, you shouldn't have brought us to the Void World, and you shouldn't have obtained the reincarnation disc. Another old man in yellow robes sneered. Big brother, second brother, don't talk nonsense with her. Since she wants to die, let's fulfill her wish. As long as we kill her and obtain the reincarnation disc, not only will we obtain the opportunity to break through to the sovereign realm, but we might even be able to enter the land of reincarnation. The last old man in yellow robes said coldly. That's right. To prevent alerting others, let's attack with all our might and kill her. Kill. The eyes of the 3 old men in yellow robes were extremely cold, and the Emperor's aura around them seemed to be able to destroy everything. Powerful superpowers continued to suppress the Dark Nether Master. At the same time, The three of them each held a dark yellow battle saber in their hands. The three battle sabers were powerful Supreme Emperor weapons, and they were able to stir up a yellow sandstorm around them. It was as though a terrifying yellow sandstorm had formed, trapping the Dark Nether Master within it. The Dark Nether Master was obviously severely injured, and the aura around her was extremely chaotic. Although she tried her best to resist, she was still at a disadvantage. Reincarnation Disc? The Land of Reincarnation? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Originally, when he saw the battle between the four of them, he wanted to leave as he did not want to be involved in it. However, his purpose of entering the Void World was to find the opportunity to reshape reincarnation. The reincarnation disc and the land of reincarnation that the four of them were talking about immediately attracted Ling Xiao's attention. Despicable. If I hadn't brought you to the Void World, you would have died in the destructive lightning and infinite fire. How dare you plot against the reincarnation disc? Even if I have to destroy the reincarnation disc, I won't give it to you. The Dark Nether Master's eyes were filled with anger and hatred. Rumble. The Dark Nether Chi flowed around her body, and a black light rose like a dark nether sea. Flames rose from it like a black fire dragon, and coiled around the three yellow-robed old men. At the same time, a black jade disc appeared in her palm. A mysterious light flowed on it as though it could devour all life. The Dark Nether Master's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. Instantly, he slammed his palm down, as though he wanted to destroy the black jade disc. Dark Nether Master, how dare you? Dark Nether Master, don't you want the seed of reincarnation anymore? If you dare to destroy the reincarnation disc, the three of us will make you suffer a fate worse than death. The three yellow-robed old men trembled, and their eyes were filled with anger and anxiety. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Three rays of dark nether saber radiance slashed down with unparalleled sharpness. They collided with the black flaming demonic dragon, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. Although they were anxious and angry, they were unable to break through the flaming demonic dragon's blockade. The Dark Nether Master was about to destroy the reincarnation disc with his palm. Buzz. At this moment, a dazzling sword light swept across the sky like a brilliant sun. It seemed to split the heavens and earth as it slashed toward the Dark Nether Master's arm. Apex. Chapter 3384. Who's there? The mysterious underworld lord's eyes flashed. He did not continue to attack the reincarnation disc. Instead, he slashed at the sword light. Boom. The void shook, and the sword light instantly shattered. The Dark Nether Lord felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She was sent flying, and the samsara disc in her hand flew out as well. Ling Xiao's figure appeared in the void and grabbed the reincarnation disc. Is this the reincarnation disc? Mysterious underworld lord, give me the reincarnation disc and I'll help you kill these three people. How about that? Ling Xiao said calmly as he looked at the mysterious underworld lord. Who's there? How dare you make an enemy out of the three yellow-robed emperors? You're courting death. Hand over the reincarnation disc. You're courting death. You still want to save the mysterious underworld lord? The three yellow-robed old men were shocked and furious. Cold light flashed in their eyes as they stared at Ling Xiao. They did not sense any aura of a transcendent from Ling Xiao's body. They thought that Ling Xiao was a great emperor like them who wanted to snatch the reincarnation disc. Who are you? How dare you snatch my reincarnation disc? How dare you boast that you want to save me? The mysterious underworld lord stared at Ling Xiao with deep eyes. Weren't you the one who lured me out? The reincarnation disc contains the power of reincarnation. It's indestructible and comparable to a chaos treasure. These three pieces of trash might not know, but I'm sure you know. You said you wanted to destroy the reincarnation disc. Weren't you trying to lure me out to save you? As you wish, I've come out. Ling Xiao looked indifferent as he glanced at the mysterious underworld lord. He rubbed the disc of samsara with his hand, and felt an extremely strange energy ripple within. It seemed to be extremely beneficial to him. He did not even look at the three yellow-robed old men. His gaze was fixed on the mysterious underworld lord. Ling Xiao had attacked not because he was afraid that the mysterious underworld lord would destroy the reincarnation disc. Instead, He had sensed that the mysterious underworld lord had discovered his existence and was trying to lure him out. Ling Xiao did not hide anything. He did as the mysterious underworld lord wished and attacked. What sharp senses! You're also a sovereign expert. The mysterious underworld master narrowed his eyes and looked deeply at Ling Xiao. She had indeed sensed that someone was hiding in the dark, and she had destroyed the wheel of samsara as a test. However, she hadn't expected that the person hiding in the dark would be a ruler. A sovereign realm expert was the lord of a world. Even in the void world, there were not many sovereigns. Sovereign. The three yellow-robed old men were originally furious. However, when they heard the mysterious underworld master's words, they couldn't help but tremble and stare at Ling Xiao in shock. If Ling Xiao was really a sovereign expert, then the trouble would be huge. Although the three of them were strong, they were still no match for a sovereign. The reason he had attacked the mysterious underworld lord was because the mysterious underworld lord had been severely injured. We call them transcendents. Ling Xiao replied calmly. Transcendents, sovereigns and great emperors, although they are called different names, they are all masters of their respective realms, and their strength is about the same. Fellow Taoist, since you've taken a fancy to the reincarnation disc, I can give it to you. But please help me kill these three villains. What do you think? The mysterious underworld master said as he looked deeply at Ling Xiao. No problem. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He slowly turned around and looked at the three yellow-robed old men with a deep gaze. Sir, do you really want to be a busybody? The three black-robed old men trembled, and their faces turned ugly. You can all die now. Ling Xiao's expression was extremely calm. The sky-devouring sword in his hand instantly split into three dazzling sword lights, and slashed at the three yellow-robed old men. The sky-devouring sword was Ling Xiao's natal treasure. It had previously merged with the four great celestial swords and various extreme metals. In terms of material quality, it was comparable to a chaos treasure. When Ling Xiao had attained transcendence, the sky-devouring sword had been refined to become a transcendence treasure. Its power was comparable to a chaos treasure. The 10 chaos treasures were also transcendence treasures. They were probably the treasures that the chaos master had obtained from the chaos sea. The sky-devouring sword was incomparably sharp and could destroy everything. The three dazzling sword lights made the three yellow-robed old men feel a fatal threat. Their expressions changed drastically. Yellow sand god slaughtering sword. The three yellow-robed old men roared. The three mysterious yellow battle swords were like giant mysterious yellow dragons. They stirred up the surrounding yellow sandstorm and flew towards Ling Xiao. Gotcha! The void shook violently, and the sound of metal clashing resounded. Sparks flew in all directions, and the surrounding yellow sandstorm was destroyed by the sky-devouring sword. When the three mysterious yellow battle swords collided with the sky-devouring sword, they trembled violently. A crisp sound was heard, and the three mysterious yellow battle swords were instantly broken. Boom, boom, boom. The three yellow-robed old men trembled violently and were sent flying. The yellow sand formation that they had triggered was also shattered at the same time. With one strike, they were all severely injured by Ling Xiao. The strength of these three old men should only be slightly weaker than the Chaos Emperor. However, the combat strength that they have displayed now is only the strength of an ordinary great emperor. Although they have the geographical advantage and have stirred up the yellow sand storm to display strength comparable to that of the epic great emperor, it is obvious that they are greatly suppressed. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. He had only attacked to test whether the three yellow-robed old men were suppressed by their cultivation. The result was as he had expected. However, Transcendence Realm experts were greatly suppressed here. If they were in the Chaos Sea, even if the mysterious underworld lord was severely injured, he could easily kill the three yellow-robed old men with a wave of his hand. However, in the void world, he would almost be killed by them. What a strange void world. Ling Xiao thought to himself. This person is so strong. When the mysterious underworld lord saw that Ling Xiao had defeated the three yellow-robed old men with one strike, his eyes narrowed and his expression turned solemn. Ling Xiao's strike seemed light as if he had not exerted his full strength. However, in the mysterious underworld lord's opinion, It was comparable to his full-strength strike. "Let's go." The three yellow-robed old men spat out a mouthful of blood, and their eyes were filled with horror. They knew that Ling Xiao was powerful and not to be trifled with. Thus, they immediately moved far away. Ling Xiao's expression was indifferent as he said softly, "The sword light of the sky-devouring sword was dazzling like a river of stars. It traversed the void for hundreds of millions of miles, and instantly enveloped the three yellow-robed old men. Poof! Poof! Poof!" Crimson light flashed and the three yellow-robed old men cried out in pain. In an instant, they were slashed in half by Ling Xiao and their physical bodies turned into a bloody mist. Even their primordial spirits were torn to pieces and destroyed. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He realized that although the primordial spirits of the three yellow-robed old men were shattered, their true spirits had disappeared without a trace. It was as if they had been devoured by some mysterious force. Could it be the power of reincarnation? Ling Xiao's heart trembled slightly. After he entered the primitive world, he felt that it was not simple. Now that their true spirits had not been destroyed after their deaths and had disappeared, Ling Xiao could not help but think of the legendary reincarnation. Could it be that the three yellow-robed old men had been reincarnated in the primitive world? My friend, their true spirits should have been attracted to the land of reincarnation, and have gone there. However, the primitive world is not a real world, so they will not be reincarnated in the primitive world. They will only exist in another form in the land of reincarnation. The mysterious underworld lord explained as if he had seen through Ling Xiao's doubts. Where is the land of reincarnation? Ling Xiao asked the mysterious underworld lord. I am the master of the ancient mysterious underworld world. My friend, thank you for saving my life. The land of reincarnation is the core of the primitive world, and only the reincarnation disc can enter it. The seed of reincarnation nurtured in the land of reincarnation is the opportunity to reshape reincarnation. The mysterious underworld lord said to Ling Xiao. This is it. Ling Xiao looked at the black jade disc in his palm. The black jade disc was surrounded by an extremely mysterious reincarnation aura. It vaguely seemed to point to a mysterious place in the primitive world. That's right. However, with this reincarnation disc, you still cannot enter the land of reincarnation. You must gather 6 reincarnation discs and sacrifice a sovereign to enter. The mysterious underworld lord said slowly. You are so honest. Aren't you afraid that I will sacrifice you? You are seriously injured now. Ling Xiao looked at the mysterious underworld lord with a faint smile. My friend, I can see that you are not such a person. Moreover, there are only a few sovereigns in the primitive world who can merge the bodies of 3 lives. My friend, you have saved me today, so I have decided to follow you. The mysterious underworld lord said as he looked deeply at Ling Xiao. How can you tell? Moreover, follow me? You are the lord of a primitive world. Don't you want the opportunity to reshape reincarnation? Are you willing to follow someone else? Ling Xiao said flatly. My friend, you have indeed merged the bodies of 3 lives. Please forgive my rudeness, but I have seen an ultimate sovereign who has merged the bodies of 3 lives. His aura is very similar to yours, so I am only guessing. Since that is the case, there is no problem in following you. Although I am the lord of the ancient Xianming world, I no longer have any relatives in the ancient Xianming world. I have lived for countless years, so it does not matter if I change worlds. If my friend can reach the end and reshape reincarnation to create an eternal world, that is my luck. There was a trace of shock in the mysterious underworld lord's eyes. At the same time, there was a hint of respect in his eyes. He did not expect Ling Xiao to merge the bodies of 3 lives. You want to follow me? However, this reincarnation disc is not enough. Ling Xiao said as he looked at the mysterious underworld lord. I know a person who has 3 reincarnation discs. The mysterious underworld lord said with a smile. She understood that this was a proof of allegiance. Chapter 3385. Ling Xiao did not believe that the Dark Nether Lord would follow him willingly. He was afraid that the Dark Nether Lord had other motives. After all, although Ling Xiao had helped him kill the 3 yellow-robed elders, He had also stolen the reincarnation disc. He did not believe that the Dark Netherlord would not want the reincarnation disc and the seed of reincarnation. However, Ling Xiao had just entered the void world and did not know much about it. It was a good idea to have the Dark Netherlord to lead the way and help him find the reincarnation disc. Speaking of which, Ling Xiao and the Dark Netherlord had their own motives. Who is it? Ling Xiao asked. The Blood River ruler. I obtained this reincarnation disc with him. I have one reincarnation disc, but he has 3. The Dark Netherlord smiled. The Blood River ruler? Very good. How is his strength? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he nodded. The Blood River ruler was the one who had injured the Dark Netherlord. She said that the Blood River ruler had the reincarnation disc, and he probably wanted to use Ling Xiao to take revenge. Don't worry, my friend. Although he is strong, he is not as strong as you. You have merged 3 bodies. In the entire void world, there are only a few people who can compete with you. The Blood River ruler is not one of them. The Dark Netherlord said. Where is he? Ling Xiao asked. The Blood River ruler should have gone to the Blood Sun Galaxy. Although he injured me, he is also injured. He must be recuperating in the Blood Sun Galaxy. My friend, how about I lead the way for you? The Dark Netherlord said with certainty. Sure. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Boom. The Dark Netherlord stomped his foot, and the dead star shook violently. In an instant, it was torn apart in the starry sky. A dimmed star core flew out and was swallowed by the Dark Netherlord. After swallowing the star core, her injuries seemed to have healed. She nodded at Ling Xiao and then instantly moved toward the endless starry sky. Ling Xiao naturally leaped up and followed. Ling Xiao, the Dark Netherlord is up to something. The Qing Emperor's voice suddenly rang in Ling Xiao's mind. I know. Ling Xiao nodded and transmitted his voice. I'm glad you understand. In addition, the Wheel of Reincarnation indeed required 6 pieces to complete the 6 paths of reincarnation before they could enter the land of reincarnation. However, there was no need to sacrifice a hegemon. On the surface, sacrificing the ruler seems to have some benefits, such as being guided by the land of reincarnation. But in reality, the ruler will be rejected by the seed of reincarnation. The Lotus Emperor reminded him. How do you know all this? Ling Xiao asked. The Lotus Tharch said. I'm not sure either. It's just that after entering the void world, some vague information appeared in my mind, so I naturally knew. Is that so? Very good. If you think of any useful information, just let me know. Once I gather all 6 reincarnation discs, we will head to the land of reincarnation. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he transmitted his voice. The mysterious underworld master's speed was not fast because she was seriously injured. However, it was difficult for the Great Path Origin to heal her injuries in the void world. The Dark Netherlord would choose to shatter some dead stars and devour their star cores to heal himself. However, her direction was clear. She headed straight for the Blood Sun Star Zone. The void world was vast and boundless. Every star zone had billions of stars. After passing through a few star zones, Ling Xiao and the mysterious underworld master saw the Blood Sun Star Zone. The Blood Sun Star Zone was not big. There were only tens of millions of stars, but there were tens of thousands of blood-red suns. The blood-red light shrouded the entire star zone, making it look very strange. However, Ling Xiao found that the blood-red suns were beating like hearts. The blood-red energy seemed to be surging from all directions, constantly gathering towards the center of the Blood Sun Star Zone. The Blood River ruler is indeed healing here. The mysterious underworld master's eyes lit up, revealing a trace of hatred. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel that in the center of the Blood Sun Star Zone, there was a figure sitting cross-legged on a blood-red sun. The boundless blood-red energy in the surroundings was gathering towards him. The Blood River ruler? Ling Xiao took a step forward. His figure was like a stream of light. In an instant, he appeared in the center of the Blood Sun Star Zone and saw the figure on the blood-red sun. Mysterious underworld master. How dare you come here to die? A cold and cruel voice sounded. An old man in a blood-red robe was sitting cross-legged on the blood-red sun. He had a ruddy complexion and white hair, but his face was extremely demonic. His eyes seemed to contain a monstrous sea of blood, surging with boundless evil spirit and murderous intent. He opened his eyes and looked at Ling Xiao and the mysterious underworld master. You even found a helper? The Blood River ruler glanced at Ling Xiao and sneered. Blood River, this is Lord Ling Xiao. Hand over the samsara disc in your hands. Or I'm afraid Lord Ling Xiao won't let you go. The mysterious underworld master glanced at the Blood River ruler indifferently. Lord Ling Xiao. Haha. Mysterious underworld. When did you side with others? Even if this boy is a sovereign expert, do you really think he's a match for me? The Blood River ruler's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Do you think you can understand Lord Ling Xiao's strength? Blood River, hand over the samsara disc or die. The mysterious underworld master sneered. You're courting death. Since you dared to come, leave your lives behind. The Blood River ruler stood up from the blood-red sun, exuding a monstrous evil spirit. Rumble, 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 rumble. The Blood River ruler was bathed in the blood-red lightning, and his body seemed to contain a power that could destroy the heavens and earth. A vast sea of blood spread out, enveloping the entire Blood Sun galaxy in an instant, drowning hundreds of millions of stars. Lord Ling Xiao, the Blood River ruler is extremely powerful. Be careful. As long as you kill him, you'll be able to obtain the 3 samsara discs in his possession. The mysterious underworld master's expression changed, and he spoke respectfully to Ling Xiao. You can leave now, Ling Xiao said calmly. Yes. The mysterious underworld master respectfully retreated behind Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's expression was calm as he looked at the Blood River ruler and said, I only want the samsara discs. Hand them over and I won't kill you. Kill me? You're courting death. Die. The Blood River ruler sneered. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he slammed his palm down on Ling Xiao. His palm print seemed to have enveloped the starry sky. The blood-red lines transformed into mountains and rivers, and the origin of the great Tao intertwined as if it was a blood-red world. The Blood Sun galaxy seemed to have become the domain of the Blood River ruler. Rivers of blood ran through the heavens and earth, providing him with endless power. Ling Xiao's expression was calm as he threw out a simple punch. Crack. The heavens and earth shook as the fist print and palm print shattered at the same time. In an instant, a blood-red light rose as vast as the sea. The Blood River ruler stepped forward, and a terrifying blood-red storm came from behind him, pressing down on Ling Xiao. The Blood River ruler's gaze was indifferent as his blood-red hair danced in the wind. Runes seemed to light up on his blood-red robe. In an instant, blood-red figures flew out from his blood-red robe, emitting ghastly wails as they pounced on Ling Xiao. Slash. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as the sky-devouring sword appeared in his hand. The dazzling sword light traversed the void for thousands of miles, splitting into thousands of rays that slashed down from the sky. The blood-red figures were annihilated by the sky-devouring sword's invincible sword chi. However, a sea of blood rose in the surroundings. Numerous blood-red figures with powerful auras pounced towards Ling Xiao as if they had gone mad. One had to admit that the Blood River ruler was indeed very strong. However, in Ling Xiao's opinion, the Blood River ruler was even weaker than the Lord of Dark World. How could he be a match for him? After testing the Blood River ruler's true strength, Ling Xiao did not hold back and attacked with all his might. Boom! Chaotic light rose as a chaotic fist print that seemed to be able to destroy the heavens came crashing down on the Blood River ruler. On the fist print, a mysterious everlasting flame surged. Under the burning of the everlasting flame, the boundless sea of blood was instantly reduced to nothingness. What? The Blood River ruler's expression changed drastically. Ling Xiao's fist made him feel a fatal threat. Boundless Blood River, Avicii Hell, Blade of Reincarnation. The Blood River ruler spat out an incomprehensible syllable as the sea of blood rose behind him. A mysterious blade light condensed, as if it could destroy the heavens and earth and shatter the reincarnation cycle. It was extremely terrifying. As the Blood River ruler's blade slashed down, the blazing blade light came crashing down on Ling Xiao. Rumble. The blade light split apart as if reincarnation was born, turning into an Avicii hell that buried gods and demons, trapping Ling Xiao within. The blade light was like an ocean, as if it wanted to destroy Ling Xiao. After slashing down with the blade, the Blood River ruler immediately teleported away without looking back. This is the Forbidden Blade. Ling Xiao's body trembled as his eyes were filled with astonishment. The blade of samsara that the Blood River ruler had used was actually the taboo blade that Ling Xiao had once practiced. The taboo blade had been left behind by the Chaos Lord. Where had the Blood River ruler learned the taboo blade? Boom. Ling Xiao's mind spun rapidly, but his attack wasn't weak at all. The Sky Devourer sword released billions of rays of sword light that were extremely sharp. He slashed down with the sword and collided with the blade light that filled the sky. In an instant, the blade light was annihilated and sword chi rose. The Avicii hell trembled violently before finally shattering along with the blade light that filled the sky. Whoosh! The Sky Devourer sword was like an eternal sword that pierced through the heavens and earth. The sword chi was extremely bright as it caught up to the Blood River ruler in an instant and slashed down on him. The Blood River ruler's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly blocked it. However, the unparalleled sword chi instantly tore apart the sea of blood around him, causing his body to tremble violently as he was sent flying. Rumble! The sword chi of the Sky Devourer sword instantly turned thousands of dead stars into dust. You! Who exactly are you? The Blood River ruler's eyes were filled with disbelief as he stared at Ling Xiao and asked. He had never imagined that Ling Xiao's strength would be so strong. Do you want to live or die? Ling Xiao held the Sky Devourer sword in his hand as he stepped into the void. The starlight around him gathered and surged into his body, causing him to emit a terrifying aura. The Blood River ruler's expression was extremely ugly. Ling Xiao was determined to stop him. Through the previous battle, the Blood River ruler had seen that he was indeed no match for Ling Xiao. However, he was extremely unwilling to hand over the reincarnation disc. So what if I want to die? So what if I want to live? The Blood River ruler gritted his teeth. He was extremely sullen as he looked at the mysterious underworld lord in the distance with hatred in his eyes. If he wasn't injured at the moment, even if he couldn't defeat Ling Xiao, it wouldn't be a problem for him to escape. Even the mysterious underworld lord, who he didn't know where he had found such a peerless expert, made him feel extremely helpless. Could it be that he has already merged 3 bodies? The Blood River ruler's heart trembled violently at the thought of this. He was filled with indescribable fear. If you want to die, I can fulfill your wish now. If you don't want to die, hand over the reincarnation disc and answer one of my questions. I can spare your life. Ling Xiao glanced at the Blood River ruler indifferently. The Sky Devourer sword buzzed and trembled as the sword chi split into billions of rays. Each ray of sword chi was like a dazzling galaxy that enveloped the starry sky. The sword chi converged and seemed to form an extremely mysterious array that gave the Blood River ruler no chance to escape. I can give you the reincarnation disc. The Blood River ruler gritted his teeth as 3 black reincarnation discs appeared in his palm and flew toward Ling Xiao. These were the reincarnation discs that he and the mysterious underworld lord had obtained together. He had originally obtained 3 of them and wanted to keep them for himself. He had fought the mysterious underworld lord and severely injured him. He had never expected that they would all end up in Ling Xiao's hands. Even though he was extremely unwilling, he couldn't help but lower his head in the face of the threat of death. Very good. Who taught you the saber of samsara that you just used? Ling Xiao stared at the Blood River ruler and asked slowly. The reincarnation knife? Why are you asking this? The Blood River ruler's eyes narrowed as he replied slowly. Answer my question. Ling Xiao asked indifferently. There was indeed something wrong with the Blood River ruler. Perhaps he knew the whereabouts of the Chaos Lord. Chapter 3386. The Blade of Reincarnation is a cultivation technique I obtained at the edge of the land of reincarnation. I also found the 4 reincarnation discs. The Blood River ruler glanced at Ling Xiao and said slowly, The edge of the land of reincarnation? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with light. That's right. You may not know that the reincarnation discs are items from the land of reincarnation. The land of reincarnation is considered the center of the void world. There is a huge black hole there that can swallow everything. Only by gathering all 6 reincarnation discs can one enter it. When I obtained the blade of reincarnation, I vaguely saw a figure in the land of reincarnation. I guessed that the blade of reincarnation was left behind by that person. The Blood River ruler explained. A figure in the land of reincarnation? Could that be the Chaos Lord? Ling Xiao guessed in his heart. According to the Reincarnation Emperor and the Lord of the Dark World, the Chaos Lord had disappeared after suppressing the Lord of the Dark World in the First Era. It was very likely that the Chaos Lord had come to the Void World. It was not impossible that he had been trapped in the land of reincarnation. Ling Xiao had a vague premonition that the Chaos Lord would have to obtain the opportunity to reconstruct the reincarnation disc. Fellow Taoist, I've already told you everything I know. Can you let me go now? The Blood River ruler looked at Ling Xiao nervously and asked. You can go now, Ling Xiao said faintly. Lord Ling Xiao, you can't let him go. The mysterious underworld master suddenly came forward and said with an anxious look in his eyes. Bastard, what are you trying to do? The Blood River ruler's expression changed, and he glared at the mysterious underworld master. Ling Xiao had already planned to let him go, but the mysterious underworld master was still causing trouble. This made the Blood River ruler extremely nervous, and he hated the mysterious underworld master to the extreme. Lord Ling Xiao, the Blood River ruler is despicable and shameless. If you let him go, he will definitely hold a grudge against you for snatching his reincarnation disc. Most importantly, the Blood River ruler was a subordinate of the Universe Tao Lord. The Heaven and Earth Pathmaster has also merged 3 bodies. Moreover, the ancient Qianquan world that he resides in was once an eternal world. Therefore, his strength is extremely terrifying and can be ranked in the top 3 in the entire Void world. Lord Ling Xiao, the Heaven and Earth Pathmaster, is very difficult to deal with, the Dark Underworld Master said with a worried expression on his face. The Tao Master of Heaven and Earth? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He understood that the Dark Nether Master had probably said this because she had her own selfish motives, and was afraid that the Heaven and Earth Tao Master would take revenge on her. However, what she said was probably the truth. Fellow Taoist, please don't listen to his nonsense. Even though I'm following the Universe Tao Lord, you're a supreme expert on the same level as the Universe Tao Lord. Why would he offend you for my sake? This bitch wants us to kill each other so that she can sit back and reap the benefits. The Blood River Hegemon panicked and said to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment, glanced at Blood River Hegemon and said, since I've already agreed to let you go, I'll naturally keep my promise. As for whether you want to find the Tao Master of Heaven and Earth to take revenge on me, that's up to you. You can leave now. Lord Ling Xiao. The Dark Nether Master was anxious. Ling Xiao's gaze turned cold as he glanced at the Dark Nether Master. She immediately trembled. Even though she was extremely unwilling, she didn't dare to say another word. Thank you, fellow Taoist. The Blood River Hegemon looked deeply at Ling Xiao, and then he instantly transformed into a blood-colored divine light, and shot toward the starry sky in the distance. Lord Ling Xiao, the Tao Master of Heaven and Earth's strength is extremely terrifying, but I'm afraid that he has already gathered 6 reincarnation discs. He'll enter the land of reincarnation as soon as something happens. He's a formidable opponent. Are we still going to snatch the reincarnation discs now? The Dark Nether Master smiled sweetly at Ling Xiao. Where did you and the Blood River Hegemon obtain the reincarnation discs? Ling Xiao asked faintly. It's at the edge of the land of reincarnation. There's a strange galaxy that envelopes the land of reincarnation and can devour everything. Without the protection of 6 reincarnation discs, even sovereigns wouldn't dare to enter easily. The Dark Nether Master was slightly taken aback, but she still answered. Bring me there. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Lord Ling Xiao, are you going there to look for the reincarnation discs? I'm afraid there's no more reincarnation discs there. Most of them are now in the hands of various great experts. The Dark Nether Master explained. It's fine. I'm not going there to look for the reincarnation discs. Just bring me there. Ling Xiao said calmly. Yes. Although the Dark Underworld Master was somewhat reluctant, he still nodded. Whoosh. Whoosh. The 2 of them left the Blood Sun Star Zone. and headed toward the land of reincarnation. In the void world, there were billions of star zones and countless stars. There was no aura of the Great Path origin, and it would suppress the ultimate experts. The life force here was barren. Darkness and loneliness were the eternal themes. However, Ling Xiao felt that the stars here were extremely strange. Although they looked like dead stars without any life force, they seemed to contain a glimmer of hope and could be revived at any time. Is this the power of reincarnation? Ling Xiao pondered. Soon, the Dark Nether Master brought him to his destination. Rumble. In front of them, stars gathered from all directions. There was a dim sun, a dead star without any life force, and a huge nebula. In the center was a huge black hole that could devour everything. It was surrounded by a mysterious galaxy that emitted a faint light. In the black hole, nothing existed. Look. That black hole is the land of reincarnation. Once you enter the black hole, you'll get the seed of reincarnation. The Dark Nether Master said slowly with a tinge of fear in her eyes. She had seen with her own eyes a Dominator rank expert attempt to cross the black hole and enter the land of reincarnation with his physical body. However, his indestructible physical body was quickly disintegrated in the black hole. Then his soul was completely destroyed and he died. Even his primordial spirit did not have a chance to escape. Therefore, she only watched from the edge and did not dare to get close to the terrifying black hole. The land of reincarnation? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Standing at the edge, he could also feel the power that could devour everything. It was as if it wanted to pull him into the black hole. The power that could decompose and destroy everything was even more terrifying than the destructive lightning and the infinite fire. Through the dazzling starlight, he looked into the black hole but found that he could not see anything. Perhaps the Blood River Dominator only caught a glimpse of the Chaos Master's figure? If he didn't lie to me, the Chaos Master might be in there. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he pondered. Buzz. Light flashed in his palm as if there was a mysterious fluctuation of destiny. He activated the life-reversing skill, and his body exuded a power fluctuation that could devour everything. The Dark Netherlord's body shook, and his eyes were filled with extreme shock. She realized that the aura that Ling Xiao exuded was very similar to the black hole. Could this life-reversing skill be the supreme skill that the Chaos Master comprehended in the land of reincarnation after watching the evolution of the black hole? Ling Xiao thought to himself. He also noticed that the aura of the black hole was very similar to the life-reversing skill. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. However, at this moment, a few black lights suddenly flew out of the black hole. They seemed to be going against the current or being guided by the mysterious aura on Ling Xiao's body. Those are reincarnation discs. The Dark Nether Master trembled, and her eyes were filled with surprise and disbelief. There were more than a dozen reincarnation discs that flew out of the black hole and arrived in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. The Dark Nether Master was shocked and depressed. Previously, she and the Blood River Dominator had spent a lot of effort and were almost swallowed by the black hole to obtain a few reincarnation discs. However, as soon as Ling Xiao arrived, the reincarnation discs flew over automatically as if they were free. Indeed, comparing oneself to others would only make one angry. The Dark Nether Master guessed that the reincarnation discs flying over voluntarily had something to do with the special aura on Ling Xiao's body. Boom. At this moment, there was a huge palm in the sky that grabbed at the reincarnation discs. The palm seemed to contain a mysterious space-time aura that could seal everything. When it reached for the samsara disc, there was also a mysterious space-time domain that intertwined, trying to imprison Ling Xiao and the mysterious underworld lord within it. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. How dare you snatch the reincarnation discs in front of me? You're really courting death. Boom. Blazing light bloomed around him like streaks of sword chi that could split the heavens and the earth. They were extremely sharp and dazzling. The mysterious space-time domain around him shattered instantly like glass. He threw out a punch and collided with the palm. Crack! The heavens and the earth shook violently as if a hurricane had swept out. Hundreds of dim suns exploded with a loud bang. Ling Xiao waved his sleeve and put away the dozen or so samsara discs. A voice of incomparable astonishment sounded. A mysterious light bloomed in the void. A handsome young man in a white robe appeared in the void in front of Ling Xiao. His expression was indifferent. His eyes seemed to contain the birth and death of space-time, and the changes of the heavens and the earth. He had a cold and aloof attitude. Oh no, he's the space-time Taoist master. The dark nether master trembled, and his eyes were filled with deep respect. Who's the space-time Taoist master? Ling Xiao asked. Lord Ling Xiao, the space-time Taoist master, is the master of the space-time Tao world. He has also merged 3 bodies and is extremely ferocious. Like the heaven and earth Taoist master, he's one of the top experts. I didn't expect him to be here. How troublesome. The dark nether master hurriedly explained. You were able to take my blow so easily. Are you also a Taoist master? The space-time Taoist master stared at Ling Xiao and asked indifferently. A Taoist master was a sovereign, or a transcendent being who had merged 3 bodies. They could also be called a great Tao master. The space-time Taoist master suspected that Ling Xiao had also merged 3 bodies. So what if I am? So what if I'm not? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. If you're also a Taoist master and survive my blow, I can spare your life. If you're not a Taoist master, and hand over the reincarnation discs, you can kill yourselves. The space-time Taoist master said calmly. However, the domineering and ferocious aura in his words made Ling Xiao's face turn cold. How dare you speak so arrogantly after snatching my reincarnation discs? I'll give you a choice. Kneel down and submit, or die. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. His voice was like a clap of thunder that exploded in the starry sky. Chapter 3387. Ling Xiao's words made the Dark Underworld Master's expression change abruptly. The space-time Tao Lord was famous in the Void World. He was extremely powerful and had killed several sovereigns. Moreover, the space-time Tao was extremely mysterious. Other than the Heaven and Earth Tao Lord and a few others, there were very few who could match him. Although Ling Xiao had merged with 3 bodies, in the Dark Underworld Master's opinion, it would not be easy for him to fight the space-time Tao Lord. Now Ling Xiao wanted the space-time Tao Lord to kneel and submit? You. The space-time Tao Lord laughed. His smile was cold and carried a hint of mockery. Although the space-time Tao Lord looked like a youth, his true age was extremely ancient. He had even witnessed the birth and death of several ancient worlds. If it wasn't for the opportunity to reconstruct the cycle of reincarnation, he would have traveled to the depths of the Chaos Sea. Many sovereigns knew about him, and were extremely respectful of him. It was the first time he had seen someone as audacious as Ling Xiao. How would you know if we don't fight? Ling Xiao said indifferently. The space-time Tao Lord was indeed very strong, and Ling Xiao could feel a strong pressure. However, in the Void World, everyone was here for the opportunity to reconstruct the cycle of reincarnation. It could be said that they were destined to be enemies, and there would be a shocking battle. Ling Xiao would not be arrogant, but he would not belittle himself either. If the space-time Tao Lord wanted to kill him, he would not show mercy. Very well. Then let me see what gives you the confidence to speak like that. The space-time Tao Lord's expression was extremely cold as he slammed his palm down at Ling Xiao. Boom. When the palm print came down, it was like a saber radiance that could split the heavens and the earth. The surrounding void seemed to shatter in an instant, and Ling Xiao was silently pulled into a broken world. Endless saber radiance surged in all directions, continuously slashing at his vital points. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes shone with unparalleled sharpness, and his fighting spirit soared into the sky. He threw a punch at the space-time Tao Lord, and the fist of the sovereign bloomed under the starry sky. It was as if the chaos was splitting the world apart, and it was about to crush everything. Although the saber rays were extremely fierce, they were quickly annihilated by Ling Xiao's fist print. The chaotic light swept in all directions like a wave and enveloped the space-time Tao Lord. Whoosh! The space-time Tao Lord's figure was like a ghost. He took a step forward, and it seemed as though layers of the void were shattered. As he waved his sleeve, an ancient world seemed to appear in front of Ling Xiao. It was like a jade prison that trapped Ling Xiao within. Ling Xiao and the Time and Space Tao Lord were originally very close to each other, but now it seemed like they were separated by an endless expanse of space. Break! The space-time Tao Lord spoke softly, and it was like a command of the heaven Tao. Rumble! The ancient worlds exploded one after another. The destructive power from the birth and death of worlds intertwined and enveloped Ling Xiao like a storm. Ling Xiao's gaze was extremely sharp. His fists were like dragons, and every punch seemed to be able to obliterate a vast region of stars. They collided with the storm of destruction in the surroundings, causing the entire region of space to tremble violently. Originally, there were already billions of stars gathered in the surroundings. They were all flying towards the black hole, about to be completely swallowed by the black hole. However, as the battle between Ling Xiao and the space-time Tao Lord continued, those stars shattered, turned into dust, and were swallowed by the black hole. The devouring power of the black hole grew stronger and stronger. There were even waves of nothingness that enveloped Ling Xiao and the space-time Tao Lord, wanting to completely swallow them into the black hole. Could it be that they want to directly enter the land of reincarnation? The Dark Nether Lord's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The battle between Ling Xiao and the space-time Tao Lord was extremely intense. They seemed to have no qualms about the all-devouring black hole at all. They continued to battle as they approached the black hole. The combat strength that Ling Xiao had displayed had shocked the mysterious underworld master as well. The combat strength that Ling Xiao has displayed is probably not inferior to the space-time Tao Lord. Could it be that the Void World is going to have another Tao Lord level supreme expert? The Dark Nether Lord's expression changed, and his eyes flickered with an uncertain light. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Xiao and the space-time Tao Lord were like two dazzling balls of light that constantly collided. Every strike seemed capable of destroying the starry sky. The two of them were actually constantly approaching the black hole, and it seemed like they were about to be completely swallowed by the black hole. Ling Xiao, your combat strength is really strong. The space-time Tao Lord praised. Light flashed in his palm, and the 6 paths of reincarnation disc instantly appeared. The 6 jade discs intertwined with each other and emanated mysterious black light. As if under the effect of the black hole, the 6 mysterious balls of light intertwined with each other and actually fused together, transforming into an ancient jade disc that emitted 6 colors of light. It enveloped the space-time Tao Lord, and then it flew towards the black hole. Ling Xiao, if you want to know the whereabouts of the Chaos Lord, then follow me. The space-time Tao Lord took a deep look at Ling Xiao, and then he instantly vanished into the black hole. What? Ling Xiao's pupils suddenly constricted. How did the space-time Tao Lord know that he was looking for the Chaos Lord? Ling Xiao pondered for a moment, and then, without the slightest hesitation, the light around him surged violently, and the 6 paths of reincarnation disc appeared. Then, under the power of the black hole, they fused together and enveloped Ling Xiao, and he also disappeared into the black hole. They actually entered the land of reincarnation? Damn it! The Dark Nether Lord's expression instantly became extremely gloomy, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Rumble! A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from her body, and in an instant, the surrounding stars were completely annihilated, forming an absolute vacuum. Her black dress fluttered, and her aura was more than 100 times stronger than before. Artifact Spirit, why did Ling Xiao enter the land of reincarnation? The Dark Nether Lord's voice was extremely cold. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure emerged from her body and instantly floated in the void. It transformed into a middle-aged man in a black robe. His face was extremely cold, and his eyes were filled with rage and killing intent. If Ling Xiao was here, he would definitely be able to recognize that this black-robed middle-aged man was the Scarlet Dragon War God, the textless Heavenly Book's artifact spirit. I don't know either. The space-time Tao Lord's appearance was too sudden. I think the space-time Tao Lord must have said something to him. Damn it, Ling Xiao was only one step away from falling into our trap, but now it's all in vain. The artifact spirit's eyes were filled with unwillingness. Just like how Ling Xiao had sensed the Dark Nether Lord's ulterior motives, the Dark Nether Lord's true motive was Ling Xiao. The textless Heavenly Book's artifact spirit had colluded with the Dark Netherlord to scheme against Ling Xiao. The previous battle with the 3 yellow-robed elders was also to lure Ling Xiao into their trap. Originally, they thought that Ling Xiao would fall into their trap step by step according to their calculations, but they did not expect that something would go wrong with the Blood River ruler. Ling Xiao had directly entered the land of reincarnation and encountered the space-time Tao Lord. What do we do now? The Dark Nether Lord's expression was extremely cold, and his eyes flickered with an uncertain light. What else can we do? Let's enter the land of reincarnation first. Damn the space-time Tao Lord. Since you've already gathered the 6 paths of reincarnation disc, why haven't you entered? You've ruined our plans for nothing. The artifact spirit's eyes were filled with rage and murderous intent. Buzz. The artifact spirit's body glowed brightly, and the textless Heavenly Book appeared, followed by 12 black jade discs. They were the reincarnation discs. It turned out that the artifact spirit and the Dark Nether Lord had already gathered the reincarnation discs. The 12 reincarnation discs floated under the starry sky, and the mysterious energy fluctuations from the black hole intertwined, causing the reincarnation discs to tremble slightly and radiate a dazzling light. In an instant, they split into 2 ancient jade discs and enveloped the Dark Nether Lord and the artifact spirit. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 of them turned into 2 rays of light and entered the black hole. 6 mysterious rays of light intertwined around Ling Xiao, and the power of reincarnation grew and multiplied endlessly, as if it contained the ultimate mystery of life and death. The black hole that could destroy everything seemed to be isolated by the 6 rays of light, and it could not cause any harm to Ling Xiao at all. After an unknown period of time, the void in front of Ling Xiao distorted slightly, and then a desolate, ancient, and mysterious aura rushed toward him. Boom! He charged out of the black hole, and into a vast and mysterious space. Is this the land of reincarnation? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered as he muttered to himself softly. The black hole had completely disappeared, and even the space-time Taoist master had disappeared. Chaotic light filled Ling Xiao's eyes, and within the chaos, worlds were constantly being created and destroyed. Worlds that looked like bubbles appeared in front of Ling Xiao, and they were within reach. Mysterious rays of light intertwined amidst the strange scenes of the birth and destruction of the worlds, and there seemed to be a mysterious continent floating within. Light flashed beneath Ling Xiao's feet, and he instantly turned into a ray of light that swept into the vast continent. This space seemed to be shrouded by a mysterious law, and the birth and destruction of the worlds were like reincarnation, growing and multiplying endlessly. Ling Xiao could sense that some of the worlds were giving birth to life, some had fallen, some had a great war between gods and demons, and some had huge beasts running amok. Those worlds looked like they could be easily destroyed, but they were worlds that truly existed. Boom! Ling Xiao descended from the sky like a meteor and landed on the ancient continent. Chaotic light intertwined, and Hongmeng purple qi coiled around. Hongmeng purple qi, which was extremely precious in the outside world, could actually be seen everywhere here. Ling Xiao could sense that this ancient continent seemed to be giving birth to many mysterious creatures, and their auras were extremely powerful. At the center of the continent, there seemed to be an ancient tree that was hundreds of millions of miles tall. It was like a pillar that supported the heavens, and it emitted an extremely powerful vitality. The ancient tree was extremely mysterious, and it seemed like it had taken root on this continent, but it also seemed like it wasn't in the same world as this continent. It was extremely strange. Do you see that ancient tree? That's the legendary world tree. A slightly cold voice sounded behind Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao turned around, and a divine light flashed in his eyes. The white-robed young man in front of him was handsome, elegant, and extraordinary. Unknowingly, he had appeared behind him. It was the space-time Taoist master. Chapter 3388. The World Tree. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a bright light. He had heard rumors about the World Tree. The World Tree was the spiritual root of a world, and it could be said that the World Tree had evolved into a world. For example, the epiphany tree that Ling Xiao had once obtained was formed from part of the world tree's spiritual root. However, why was the world tree here? That's right. It's the world tree. This is the mother tree of the world tree. The seeds of the world tree were scattered throughout the various worlds and into the chaos. They evolved into the world and became the pillar of the world. They are the child trees of the world tree. The seed of reincarnation is also a seed of the world tree, but it's a mutated seed. Only after countless tribulations can a seed of reincarnation be born. The Spacetime Taoist master explained. The seed of reincarnation is born from the world tree? Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. The legendary world tree was the pillar of a world. It was mysterious and eternal. Who would have thought that it was just a child tree? Just how majestic would the mother tree of the world tree be? The mother tree of the world tree that you see now is the supreme treasure that supports this void world. As for the continent beneath our feet, it's just a leaf of the world tree. The Spacetime Taoist master sighed softly. A leaf of the world tree? The world tree isn't rooted on this continent? Ling Xiao's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with extreme shock. This world was vast and boundless. It was even vaster than the primitive world. Who would have thought that it was just a leaf of the world tree? It seemed that everything he saw before him was just an illusion. If this vast continent was just a leaf of the world tree, then how vast and majestic was the world tree? Although we're the masters of a world or even the masters of the great Tao, we're still as insignificant as a drop in the ocean before the world tree. Ling Xiao, it's not that easy to obtain the seed of reincarnation. The Spacetime Taoist master sighed softly and looked at Ling Xiao meaningfully. Why are you telling me this? Don't you want the seed of reincarnation? Ling Xiao glanced at the Spacetime Taoist master and asked. Of course I want the seed of reincarnation, but I might not be able to obtain it. But you, on the other hand, have great hope. The Spacetime Taoist master said. Why is that? Ling Xiao asked. Ling Xiao was unable to discern the Spacetime Daylord's intentions, and whether he was a friend or foe. Do you know Hongjun Ancestor? The Spacetime Daylord asked softly. Hongjun Ancestor? I've heard of him. He's from the immortal clan of the Great Wasteland world. You know him too? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. Hongjun Ancestor is indeed from the untainted world, but he is not from the untainted world. I just want to form a good relationship with you. Besides, I can tell you that the place where the seed of rebirth is located is the most peculiar place. There are hundreds of millions of continents here. It is not easy to find the seed of rebirth. Take care of yourself. The Spacetime Taoist master said slowly. After that, he nodded at Ling Xiao. Dazzling light flickered around him, and instantly turned into a dazzling rain of light, before he disappeared in front of Ling Xiao. Hongjun Ancestor and the Spacetime Taoist master both came from the Eternal Land? Could it be that the weapon spirit of the wordless heavenly book also came from the Eternal Land? Ling Xiao pondered in his heart. What a familiar aura. At that moment, Emperor Qing's voice sounded. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He immediately waved his sleeve and the chaotic green lotus appeared in the void. Buzz! With a flash of green light, the chaotic green lotus transformed into a handsome man in green robes. He looked elegant and otherworldly. It was Emperor Qing. There was a trace of confusion in Emperor Qing's eyes. This is the land of rebirth. Do you sense anything? Ling Xiao asked. I feel a sense of familiarity. Perhaps I was once the seed of the world tree. If I want to find the seed of rebirth, I'm afraid I have to enter rebirth first. Emperor Qing said slowly. Enter rebirth? Ling Xiao was taken aback. That's right. This continent was formed by the leaves of the world tree. If you can find the power of rebirth, you will have a chance to find the seed of rebirth. The Lotus Emperor nodded and said. Ling Xiao glanced at Emperor Qing and said. In that case, you can sense the existence of the seed of rebirth? That's right. Emperor Qing nodded and said. This continent seems to have the aura of the seed of rebirth. Follow me. The Lotus Emperor seemed to have sensed something as a flickering light appeared in his eyes. Swoosh. He leaped up like a bolt of green lightning. Chaotic mist filled the air as he flew towards the depths of the continent. Ling Xiao naturally followed closely behind. This continent was full of vitality. Ancient trees towered into the sky and exotic flowers and herbs could be seen everywhere. Many divine and sacred medicines that had been lost in the Eldritch continent could be seen everywhere. Ferocious beasts as huge as mountains lay dormant on the ground. Some were even fighting. All kinds of powerful living beings flew across the sky and set off gusts of wind. At a closer look, this place was like the beginning of the Eldritch continent. Everything was full of vitality, and the spiritual energy was extremely rich. Ling Xiao and Emperor Qing moved across the sky. With their current cultivation, they could naturally hide their aura. Although the living beings on the continent were powerful, they could not detect their existence. Ancient trees towered into the sky and all kinds of sacred mountains and pure lands could be seen everywhere. Even with Ling Xiao's current state of mind, he could not help but be amazed. Ling Xiao also picked some precious herbs when he came across them. Just like that, he and Emperor Qing traversed hundreds of millions of miles and finally arrived at a vast and majestic mountain range. This mountain range stretched for millions of miles. Every mountain peak was 100,000 feet tall, and some were even 1,000,000 feet tall. The spiritual energy was rich and auspicious, and the mist was dense. It was like the residence of an immortal. This place seemed to be the core of this continent, and there was a special reincarnation aura. After arriving here, Ling Xiao also sensed the reincarnation aura. Is this the aura of the seed of reincarnation? Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he looked at Emperor Qing and asked. It should be. However, the seed of reincarnation might not be here anymore. This aura is very faint. It should have appeared a long time ago. Emperor Qing said slowly. Buzz. The Grade 36 chaotic green lotus appeared under his feet. It was enshrouded in a mysterious chaotic light, and brought him into the mountain range. There was a mysterious light shining on the chaotic green lotus, and it seemed to be pointing to a certain place. Soon, the chaotic green lotus stopped in a quiet valley. In the valley, there were ancient trees and green pines. There was a small bridge over flowing water and a few bamboo houses. Behind the bamboo houses, there was a waterfall and a spring. It seemed like someone had lived here before. Ling Xiao and Emperor Qing landed in the valley, and felt a sense of peace from the bottom of their hearts. This place. What a familiar aura. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He seemed to have been here before. Who is that? Light flashed across Emperor Qing's eyes. In the distance, there was a stone table and a few stone stools under the pine tree. A figure was sitting on one of the stools. At this moment, his back was facing Ling Xiao and Emperor Qing. His long hair was draped over his shoulders, and he was shrouded in mist. He looked very mysterious. Could it be? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the figure and guessed. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.